Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody around the world, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for you today, covering the world of sports as a whole, from basketball to boxing to everything in between. And my gosh, you want to talk about a shakeup in the world of sports? We just had fights canceled. We just had trades happen. We are in code red when it comes to what's going on. The whole landscape of everything has completely shifted, has completely changed, has completely got. We got a problem. We got a problem. Oh my gosh, we got a problem. Every which way. Gosh, I was almost too much to keep up. I'm sorry wasn't able to start the show at 12 o'clock on the dot, because I was trying to keep up with everything that was going on to make sure I had all my stuff straight for what the world we're seeing when we talk about all these trades in the NBA and the monumental announcement that Canelo versus Crawford is canceled. Oh shoot, I can't even hit my buttons right. Oh my gosh. Well, hold on first. Let's get the intro started real quick. Hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Welch Report. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Please, if you would, leave a like on the stream. Comment your thoughts and opinions in the chat below with whatever you want to discuss about. Subscribe to the channel, because let me tell you something. I love doing this, and I want to make this my living. Absolutely. And it's all thanks to you and your support that we can make this possible. And subscribe to the channel to help us build up this empire together as we keep on growing and going out into the airways of the entire media world. Absolutely. We can't do this without your help, and I appreciate all of your support. Also, we're available on every podcasting platform imaginable. Every episode gets uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Easily accessible on your job, at your work. If you missed the show or you want to go re-listen to the show, you can do it right there. Absolutely. And if we're not there, tell us, and we'll get on that platform expeditiously. But my gosh, without further ado, we got a lot of show to do. And I guess we're primarily a boxing channel. We can talk about the trades, and we will talk about the trades on the second half of the show. And we'll also have the championship rounds coming up to play for anybody and everybody to say whatever they want to say about whatever topic they want to discuss. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and we will indeed discuss it, whether it's basketball, boxing, football, the Super Bowl, anime, movies, comic books, you name it, I'm there. Video games, don't matter to me. If I can talk about it, I'll be about it, and we'll discuss it with you all absolutely in the championship rounds, 30 minutes to an hour of whatever you all want to discuss, absolutely. But my gosh, I don't know how long this show's gonna go, because we are indeed in a code red situation, because we don't know what to discuss. But let's jump with what we know best, boxing. Since we're talking about boxing, well, it's time to step into the ring. That's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway, and we already got people in shock and awe. And for those who are just tuning in, again, please leave a like on the stream to get the stuff up, or to get the algorithm to push it out. But since we're talking about boxing, we gotta talk about the biggest news that just broke, and it's here and now. Crawford versus Canelo is off. It's over. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford is now no longer happening. One of the most anticipated fights that we had this year now is officially kaput. It's done. Finito. There is no longer going to be any sort of circus or type of fight, any sort of spectacle. Seemingly, it's done. How did we get here? Because you have to understand, in fact, actually, before I even give my own opinions on everything, let me give love to the chat of who's here. Like Warlock Boxing, hey, ho, what's good with you? How you doing? Glad that you're tuning in. Warlock to the stream, Warlock to the channel, incredible, phenomenal. I'm so glad that you are here joining in on the show. Rusty Cage, what's up with you? How you doing? Glad that you are on the show. Thank you for tuning in and listening early in this morning, on this afternoon, in your break, on your job, don't matter. Just glad that you're here. Sitting in the clowns, we knew this was going to be a circus. Hey, look, let me tell you something. It is a circus. Also, I didn't even get to give this salute back. Salute to you, Warlock Boxing. Glad that you here. Glad that you tuned in. Again, Rusty, yeah, the circus, it's like, Huh. I'm in such. I'm genuinely I'm so serious. I'm in genuine disbelief. And again, I ain't missing some of y'all. Angry Mexican, well, thank you for tuning in. We got, I know you hot, but I don't know if you excited or hot. I just know you got some, you got some feelings. Cause hey, daddy come home, Canelo. Salvador Sanchez to go. Oh, he's a hater. Oh, not a hater, but he really is a detractor of the world of Canelo, especially with this trade or with this move, not fighting Terrence Crawford. Seemingly, you're saying Canelo is a duck for this fight, potentially. And also, Franklin Zana, how you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. Means the world to me that you all are here. But, hey, look, we gotta, shoot. Chat's going too quick to even keep up with. Everybody's going in upward. Let's break it down right now. How did we indeed get here? I'm so serious. We gotta walk through how we got here. Because we were expecting last year, this year at the Madrimov, this fight looked to be on the horizon. More and more started picking up steam. Then actual talks came into play. When Canelo said that he would never work with Turki Al-Sheikh, that he didn't need the money, all of a sudden he came to the table. Money seemed pretty good at that point, didn't it? After which he goes in and genuinely had some talks. They're going behind the scenes. Everything seems to be moving fluidly. Because nothing seems to detract that this fight isn't going to take place. Next thing you know, they go through. Bing, bang, boom. We get a situation where it's official, or seemingly it's official. They got a month in place for September. They had finalized genuinely an actual location over in Las Vegas. Everything seemed to line up. We're going to have this fight happen. A mega event, an absolute spectacle of an affair. Canelo versus Crawford, two of some of the most poignant figures in boxing today. Most likely who wins this fight is going to be seen as the best of this era outright. And the ramifications were all-time great status up for grabs. It was, and everything seemed to be going off without a hitch. And even with the rumors of Canelo versus Jake Paul flying around, it was like, yeah, that fight is normally it's a pipe dream. Because this fight with Canelo and Crawford is seemingly so close to being official, if anything, with the announcement of the venue being agreed upon, it had been announced at that point. It virtually outside of just a whole full-blown, straight-up promotional package, it was set. It was there. It was there. And now, within the span of a day, a couple hours, it's gone? Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Hey, look at this. We got some problems
Are
here.
you kidding me?
We got some problems
Are you kidding me? We're looking at this, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what happened to turn this fight so sour so quickly. I would love to hear your thoughts, because this is going to be, for the most part, speculation, because ain't nothing come out yet, unless, I'm checking Twitter right now, unless the ring all of a sudden shows something to behold when it comes to the world of Canelo versus Crawford, and genuinely, all of a sudden, they're showing new light as to why everything fell apart. I don't know what happened. I'm so shook. Because what was it? Did somebody get under somebody's skin? Maybe it was that Canelo genuinely wasn't rocking with the money that he was getting. But even that doesn't make sense. This would have been one of the most lucrative fights that they would have had in his career. No doubt. Unabashedly. This would have been one of the most lucrative fights that Canelo would have had in his entire career. Bar none. There would have been no situation that this wouldn't have made him a boatload of money. And if anything, we want to talk about the easy route to success that we've seen Canelo take over the last couple fights in his career of recent. Not the prime Canelo that was doing everything we asked for, but the current Canelo that indeed was not doing what we knew he should be doing. This seemed like, okay, if anything, even if this is a lopsided affair on paper, and Crawford may seem like, in this insane scenario, the only man that can actually make this fight a possible upset. We wanted it. We would have paid for it. And Turki Al-Sheikh would have given you all the world and more. And it looked like he was doing it. And now, it's up in smoke. It's up and gone. In a heartbeat. I'm genuinely sitting here perplexed as to what could have transpired. And it's a scary prospect with some of the options. But before I get into some of the options that may be in light of the now defunct fight with Terrence Crawford, let's go to what you all have to say in the chat below. Like Rusty Gage, I think they are trolling us. It's still very early in the year that this fight, for this fight to be official. Understandable, absolutely. I completely wholeheartedly get it. It looks like a situation where, hey, maybe this is all just a ruse, a prank, to get the numbers up for the fight. Genuinely. But, like, did you need any more numbers? Did you need to troll to get this going in order to sell this fight? Because the whole boxing world was ablaze with it. We were all saying this was the most anticipated fight of the year outside of, most likely, Canelo versus Benavidez. We were like, I don't think you have to do anything else to sell that this fight is genuinely a palpable and anticipated event. Even with as smoothly as it was going and with the dates that was being talked about for both Canelo and Crawford having potentially a tune-up fight individually, then having a fight in September, and we know Canelo wants to have a fight in May because that's his month. We were like, okay, every other situation we had seen with Turki Al-Sheikh and any of his fighters, they already agree on the fight for the date, and then they make the other fights happen leading up to it. Whether it was AJ versus Wilder, whether it was Bevo versus Better BF, whether it was a multitude of the mega events that we've had. It's been, they sign the fight, and then you take the tune-up. And then if you make it, it happens. If you don't make it, we adjust accordingly. But we already secure what the plan is. That's what's been happening. And now that this seemed to be that it was like that it just falls apart all at once. Like it wasn't even a situation where the negotiations are in trepidation. It wasn't a situation where somebody was demanding more money. It wasn't a situation where all of a sudden somebody was unhappy with their stuff at the table and they were working to make it work, but it looked bad. It was all at once. This fight was coming. It was there. Everything was being agreed upon. Stuff was rising up. And then at one drop of a hat, it completely dies. It dies all at once. It's like, this is a big blow. This is a huge blow. Arguably, this is the first failure that we've seen with Turki Al-Sheikh in the boxing regime. I'm so serious. It's been banger, in the words of Sheamus, it's been banger after banger after banger after banger that they've been putting on without a hitch. Not one person walked away unhappy, whether it was with the fight or with the money. Nothing has been wrong. Everything's been all clear. When it comes to making all these fights with Turki Al-Sheikh, now all of a sudden at the drop of a hat, it is dead. Like, how? How does this happen at such a quick rate that it's like, real question. Let's ask the questions. Let's get to the questions. Who walked away? That's what we need to understand. Who was it that walked away from this fight? Who walked away? Who indeed walked away from making this fight happen? Who was it that made this fight? Who was it that completely shut it down? Was it Canelo or was it Crawford? In your own opinion, because right now we don't have anything with anything at this stage. I'm going through and I'm looking on Twitter and on social media as we speak to make sure I'm not missing a thing when it comes to what's going on with Canelo versus Crawford. But who walked away? And I would assume it was Canelo. I truly would assume it was Canelo with how he's been approaching everything surrounding the world of Turki Al-Sheikh and all Riyadh season and all of the stuff going on with the world of boxing as it's been seemingly going under the regime of Turki making big fights happen on a consistent basis. He's been one of the more, I'm not going to say the biggest vocal outlier, but he's been one of the more star-driven people going against the trend of doing what seemingly is the best for the sport as a whole and getting in the ring with killers that are on your level, like we've seen everybody else do. So it's like, I mean, I would think, but again, all this is speculation. I don't know. But it seems like to me that it was Canelo that stepped away. Because Crawford seemingly was just going, was just going line in with it. Because everything was like, this is what I want. And with Canelo, when he started getting in negotiations, all of a sudden it seemed like an offer too good to refuse. And now he refuses it outright. It's a shock to the system. It's just a shock to the system. Let's see. G, what's up with that? How you doing? Glad you're tuning in to the show. Thank you so much for coming on and listening to the Welch Report on this early afternoon. It's just a shock and all to the system. Everybody in the boxing world, what do you have to say on the matter? Because Bud on juice and they see Victor Conte over there. Now, maybe so. Maybe it is that, hey, he doesn't trust Victor Conte, doesn't trust Snack, doesn't trust that whole supplement, though it does come out as clean. Victor has been shady for a number of years. Absolutely. And so with him behind Crawford, maybe he has something against him. Maybe he has something legitimately going as sleazy and shady. On top of that, yeah, Victor Conte, like you said, Victor Conte and Snack might be under investigation as well. It's again on the there. I'll be perfectly frank. There are more channels that are more in tune with the behind the scenes drug related issues that come along with boxing. Again, I know what I know. Absolutely. I'm not gonna act like I know everything. I've validated everything I could with what goes on with Vada, Victor Conte, all the other accredited places. Understandable. Now, with that being said, I still can't speak fully on it because even in my, I'm not trying to brag, but even in my knowledge of the boxing world, I'm not even as adept in understanding all the ins and outs as others, and as yourself may be. So excuse me if I can't speak as blatantly on, yes, that's the main reason, or no, that's the main reason in terms of with Victor Conte. With all due respect, again, we keep it as even kill as possible, and we try to keep it as transparent as possible. Because I want to give you the best of information I can. And if I don't know something, I give that disclaimer. And what I do know about Victor Conte, and with the whole Snack regiment, there has been some concerns with the, I guess we'll say, legality of it, even though they always come out clean in terms of all of the fighters with that go with Victor Conte and who are on Snack in that supplement program that seemingly is on the up and up. But I completely understand that there is some trepidation. There is some concern, validly. Can I speak on it concretely? No. Other channels can do that, absolutely. Other outlets can do that, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and try to be something that I'm not on a source or on a topic that I may steer you one way wrong. I may steer you wrong one way or the other because I don't have all the information to give me as much confidence. But I do completely understand the concern. And I do feel that this could be a viable situation as to why Canelo pulled out. But on the flip side, on what I do know, Canelo's been talking about this fight. Even if you want to bring up Victor Conte, Snack, and all that stuff, even with that being the case, Canelo all this time has been talking that this fight, when I win, I'm not going to get any credit for it. That's been his biggest concern with this fight. When I win, I'm not going to get any credit for it. And he's like, bring Victor, bring Snack, whatever you do. Keep the same thing that you've been doing all your career. It's not going to change anything. Because when I beat you, I'm not going to get any credit. That's been his biggest concern, not the drugs, not the supplements, not the backing of any drug administration or belt commission. It's been him being like, you all, the public, won't give me the respect, even if I make this happen. And so, but the money seemingly was too good to be like, yeah, we'll make it happen, regardless of which. Because take what you want, I'll beat you. It don't matter. It doesn't. It literally with Canelo, he was saying it does not matter. I could care less. Didn't even bring it up most of the time because of the fact that it was the biggest thing was, y'all won't give me my just due if I do destroy this brother, or rather when I do destroy this brother, in the words of Canelo, in the mind of Canelo. Now that that's the case, we're sitting here and we're saying, I mean, like, Here's the biggest question. Where does it go from here? Where does this go from here? What is the next step for both Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez? How does this transpire now when we look at the grand scheme of their careers moving forward? Because you have to understand, we were looking at the world of Crawford. This was the end goal. This was the end all be all. There was not a situation in Canelo's career, in Crawford's career, that this wasn't what he wanted. We were looking at Crawford and saying, this was your magnum opus in your career. If you can make this happen, this will all he been wanting. This genuine after Spence, it was Canelo. Let's make history. Let's jump up and do what seems to be the impossible, what seems to be the incredible, what seems to be the unspeakable, the unthinkable. Let's make it happen. And now, what is it that he's working for? What is he working towards now? What is his next step? Does he go and unify 154? Does he go try to beat does he go try to fight Tim Tszyu? Potentially just to get a name on his resume? Does he unify the 154 division? Does he move up to 160 and fight the likes of what's his name? Not Jamal. Is it Jamal? No, Jamal. Jamal Charlo at 160. Does he try to gain and go undisputed there? And just systematically work his way up to 160? One fight at a 168, one fight at a time. Or does he retire at this point? Because the brother's going to be 38 years old this year. And unless this fight is indeed still happening, he'll be 38 with no prospects in the immediate that seemingly he is avidly excited about. So what does he do? Genuinely, what does he do? He's got options, but will he take them? He's a dog. We get it. He wants to fight. He loves war. He wants to go in and fight the best available opponent. That's what he's been doing his entire career. We have nothing ill to say about Terrence Crawford when it comes to his ability as a fighter, as a boxer, and as an all-time contender. By that I mean somebody who takes on every test and doesn't run. We know that. We know that's what he does. We know that's what he's about. But even with that being the case, we're looking at and saying, when you were this gung-ho about a fight that would have changed your legacy, genuinely, I'm not saying for the worst, but this is a fight that win, lose, or draw, it changes your legacy. That happened with Tyson Fury. It changed his legacy. It happened with Terrence Crawford versus Spence. It changed his legacy. Inoue versus Donaire, it changed both of their legacies. Again, not necessarily for the worst, but it shifted their legacies. There is a very valid point to look at this situation and say, we're looking at Terrence Crawford and what would have made you so spectacular now that it's on the table, now that it's off the table, seemingly. What else are you going to do? Or are you going to just say, I don't need this anymore? Is the motivation still there now that the big fight is no longer in your vicinity? Genuine. That's the question. Also, can you guess what I got in my drink today? Now, we always play that game. Is it great? Well, actually, and for this show, shoot, we'll play this guessing game later on. Shoot, at this point, we're just going to say straight up coffee because I needed it today. Because, my gosh, I had to get up and at him. I had to get excited. I had to be prepared for I had to be prepared for whatever the world was going to come down the pipe for today. Because I had been up, keeping up with every source of news imaginable. From Crawford and Spence to Bacoli and Anthony Joshua to, again, Zach LaVine getting traded to Sacramento, Fox getting traded over to the Spurs with Victor Wembanyama, Luka getting traded, Dolce and Connect getting traded, Anthony Davis getting traded, Jimmy Butler, and that whole saga. It's been a whirlwind of just action that I've been covering. And so I need coffee. I've been hyped up since Sunday. Let's be perfectly honest. I've been hyped up since Sunday. But to get back on topic, what does he do? I'm concerned because maybe we see that Crawford starts to take his foot off the gas now that the brass ring now has been taken off the table. Maybe we don't see him move in the same way that we saw him move in the past, due to now the best option no longer being an option for him. And genuine. It's like shoot. It's like and Jack or Coke? No, it is just about as straight coffee as I can drink today in terms of the cup, what I got in my cup, because like I said, I've been up since Sunday at 4 or 5 in the morning, keeping up with everything. And so I'm like, I'm on nothing but I'm not gonna be on nothing but caffeine, probably up until next week. So be prepared. Be prepared. The drink will change. Right now it's straight up coffee, like as straight as I can drink it, as much caffeine as I can put in this thing, because I am so amped up trying to make sure I get everything together, because I'm darting back and forth with every source possible, looking at every interview, looking at every breaking news story, trying to keep up with all the stuff going on in the NBA and boxing, so I can give you the best available show. But my gosh, I mean, I'm insane. I'm literally hyped up, and I'm always hyper. Whoa, I'm always up. And that was even better. You're getting the best out of me, and I'm doing whatever I can. This is my steroids. This is my snack. If you want to, this is my snack. This is my steroids. This is my alcohol. There's nothing but straight caffeine. I'm doing everything I can to be as eccentric as possible, because I can't go to sleep now with everything that's been transpiring. Also, Fight Buzz TV, what's going on with you? Glad that you're tuning in. Glad that you're here. Thanks for joining in on the show. We talk about the fight with Canelo and Crawford being done, dead in the water, absolutely kaput when it comes to the world of boxing. Now that this is the reality of the situation, I would love to hear your thoughts on what you feel about it. Or do you really think that this fight is over? And what do we see for the ramifications of both of these careers going forward? And we just touched on Terrence Crawford. Will he lose motivation? Is there a concern that we're going to see Terrence Crawford genuinely not go about the same way that we've seen him go about his career in the boxing world? Also, if you would, leave a like on the channel, leave a like on the show if you don't mind, as we continue to make this show the best that it can be, and help push it to the algorithms. If you so would, it would be so kind. We got 9 people on the stream, at least from what I can see. So hey, if we can get everybody, to come and like the stream, that would be incredible. Oh, that would be phenomenal. And then we get more people, more likes, more people, more likes. Next thing you know, we got 10,000 people on watching all at the same time. Absolutely. But again, when we look at the ramifications of this fight not happening, now when we look to the world of Canelo, and this is where stuff gets dirty. This is where stuff gets bad. I mean really bad, because somebody brought it up earlier in the chat when we were going and talking about all of this. For some reason I can't, it's not coming up when I click on it, but it was Angry Mexican who was in the chat, or hopefully still in the chat, who talked about what's going to come down the pipe. Canelo versus Jake Paul is the fight people want in May. At least that's what he says, or she says, depending on who the Angry Mexican is behind the screens. And again, thank you for tuning in and listening. But regardless of which, I don't want that fight. Let's be perfectly honest. We got a problem. Oh gosh, we got a problem. I don't want that fight to transpire in the slightest. I don't want that fight to transpire in any way, shape, or form. But my gosh, I dare say that is the fight that can happen on the side of Canelo. And I hate it. Oh gosh, I hate it. I despise it with all my heart and soul. If we see that Canelo Alvarez genuinely and in all seriousness is getting ready to fight Jake Paul, and that's the reason why he walked away from this Terrence Crawford fight, the fight that, as lopsided as it may seem, it's still the fight that the whole world wanted to see, that everybody would have paid money to see, that people would have maybe sold their houses, everybody would have been running on a hope and a prayer and a genuine intrigue that this fight could transpire. Las Vegas would have been flooded. The whole sports world would have stopped and stared. This would have been one of the biggest fights that we have of our generation in this new era of boxing. Wholeheartedly. would have been bigger than Spence and Crawford. Would have been bigger than Tank versus Ryan Garcia. Shoot, it would have been bigger, or at least on par, with the likes of Usyk versus Fury for Undisputed. In terms of just spectacle, world-renowned acclaim, and genuine intrigue from the entire globe. Two of the biggest stars in America and Mexico facing off against each other in September, or dare I say potentially Cinco de Mayo, as stuff was being talked about, but more likely September, not more likely, September was the agreed upon month that it was going to transpire. We were looking and we were saying, this is it. This is it. This is the time. And now it's not happening. And now we potentially are going to see Canelo, again, potentially, we're going to see Canelo and Jake Paul fighting against each other. It's the rumor mill that's actually looking to be a potential reality. And I despise it with everything in me. I already hate the brother for what he did internally as a spectacle for boxing. Yes, the brother brought up female boxing to the heights that it's never been before. Heights that we've never seen before. Genuinely making Amanda Serrano, helping elevate Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, and other females in the boxing world into a legitimate pedestal that they deserve to be on. Loved it. We get it. He's brought boxing to a global stage that many people thought would never reach in this modern day. We love that. But he himself, I despise with everything in me. He himself, I despise with everything in my soul. As a boxer, I can't stand him. Can't stand him. Fighting Mike Tyson at 58 years old. Shame on you. Spit in the face of your very existence in the boxing regime. Fighting the likes of Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz, and others. Walking around like the highest thing since sliced bread. I can't stand him, and I can't stand what he represents. But I love what he's done for the sport as a whole. Getting everybody to talk about it. Bringing boxing to Netflix. Thank goodness. But we're looking and we're saying, on the side of Canelo, you cannot walk away from Terrence Crawford to then go and fight Jake Paul and have us respect you. At this stage, you can't. This is not what. If he does this, forget Salvador Sanchez. Forget Julio Cesar. Forget Julio Cesar Chavez. Forget being one of the greatest Mexican boxers in history in terms of elevating yourself anymore. You're done. You're finished. Oh no, you're done. Like it's over. It's over. We can trash that talk right now. You thought, and again, Fight Buzz TV, I believe it was you that brought up the makeup of the Mexican fan base when it comes to supporting Benavidez and supporting Canelo. It was already very sketchy. 50-50 with the two. And a lot of people had turned on the likes of Canelo Alvarez because of him not fighting David Benavidez and the recent moves in the boxing world that he had made since becoming undisputed champion. Fighting Berlanga, fighting John Ryder, not fighting the likes of David Benavidez. Running from the test that you so aptly should be facing head on. That's what you've done. And that's what we hate about him. That's what a lot of the Mexican fans hate about him. And now it's been a 50-50 split between Benavidez supporters and Canelo supporters, saying Benavidez has ripped away a lot of Canelo support to make that split relatively even. Now, if we do in fact see that this fight is happening and that Jake Paul is going to actually fight Canelo, and that's why this fight is off the table for Canelo versus Crawford, I'm done. I'm done. Oh, I'm done. Oh, you want to talk about, y'all thought I was hard on Gervonta Davis. You all thought I was hard on Tank and giving that brother hate, giving that brother ire, giving that brother disdain, giving that man unjust disrespect, when in all actuality, I was simply telling it like it is when it comes to the world of as a legitimate, not even quotations, as a legitimate star in the sport. You mean to tell me you aptly and willingly go about this realm of existence for you in the boxing world and skirting away from competition even competition that when we think you should win, you still don't take the risk because that's the fight that we want. You thought I was hard on Tank. Don't let this be reality. Don't let it be reality that he's actually fighting Jake Paul, because if it is, he'll never hear the end of it. From me or anybody, his legacy will be in the toilet in terms of the second half of his career. Like, the amount of stuff he would have to do then to elevate himself after fighting Jake Paul while still in his prime. I hate what Floyd Mayweather did at the end of his career to fight Conor McGregor for that 50th win. I hate it. I despise it with all my heart and soul. But even that was more understandable than this fight if it is indeed Jake Paul fighting Canelo. If we see that that's the result of why we're not getting Terrence Crawford fighting Canelo in September in Las Vegas. I could understand Crawford. I could understand Mayweather because Mayweather was coming off the tail end of his career, was nearing and was looking towards retirement. And the spectacle was too great not to miss. And the world genuinely was intrigued on it. The world actually was looking at this as a legitimate fight. And they actually wanted to see it. It wasn't more hate. It was like actual intrigue. At least when I was around for when that fight happened. It was more than just, this is a spectacle. People actually believed and wanted to see that fight transpire. So I give more credit to that. I despise it still, but I give more credit to it because that's what the people want. But now the people don't want this. The people don't want this. The people don't want to see Canelo fight Jake Paul when Terrence Crawford is literally right there. It's like, I'm so sick if this is indeed the case. He'll never hear the end of it. His legacy is set in stone. Absolutely. His legacy is set in stone. But this is one of the few times that if he takes this fight, his legacy will take a dip. On the whole. Genuine. I'm not saying that as hyperbole. I'm not saying that to be shocking. No. I am saying legitimately his legacy will take a dip. On the whole. And we said it was cemented and can't take a step back. It can, if this is the case. It can, if this is what we're doing. It can, if this is the fight that we're potentially going to see. It absolutely, in a heartbeat, at the drop of a hat, it can. And it will. It will take a step back. I didn't think this was possible. Hence why I said there's no way he can regress. If he fights people that we don't want, or that are like, you're avoiding competition, okay, you'll never improve. But what you've done can't be undone. Now, if Jake Paul is legitimately on your horizon at this stage in your career, not even when you are old and you are out the door, but this is where you are genuinely, no, it can regress. It can go back. It can indeed turn into a very incredible bad situation that we're looking at your career in retrospect, and now we are devaluing it to some degree because of what you did to fight Jake Paul. Hypothetically, if that is the fight that's going to happen instead of Terrence Crawford, I'm sick. I'm telling you, I'm sick. To me, there's both spectacles. I respectfully, I can't even agree with this, Rusty Cage. Not because I don't see what you're saying, but it's because there are here. Let's have a. What's up? Hold on, Jay Riggs. What's good with you? How you doing? Glad to see you. Yes, indeed. What's going on, boxing fans? What's going on, Jay Riggs? Glad that you're back on the show. We have been going on a tear talking about this whole fight with Terrence Crawford and Canelo, now off officially in a shocking move that has everybody questioning everything. And we talked about what Crawford's going to do potentially, what roads he can take. But now with the likes of Canelo, we just touched on Canelo potentially is going to fight Jake Paul. And we talked about those rumors even in a past show. I believe like last week. And I put in the rest. And I was like, nah, there's no way that's going to happen. That's just rumors, speculative. There's no way because of what's directly in front of Canelo right now. Now we see that this fight is off, and that fight with Crawford and Canelo ain't happening. And the fight with Jake Paul and Canelo potentially is more likely than we expect. And that could be the reason as to why this fight with Crawford isn't transpiring and why it's been called off immediately. If that is the case, I'm saying, maybe not you, and understandable if you all disagree, but I'm saying that this is going to devalue his career. And I said that there's no way that Canelo's career could be devalued or regress in terms of the grand scheme looking at it. His legacy was set in stone. Well, now that stone, if this fight is indeed happening with Canelo and Jake Paul, now that stone's getting chipped away. Now that stone is eroding instead of just being concrete and unshakable. No, it's shakeable now. If this fight does take place, I am the conversations of all-time great Mexican, that's over. You're still an all-time great, but not only do you get capped at where you will never move up, you're moving back down. You're moving down. You're moving down the list. Because of a move like this, but we might move you behind the likes of Carlos Monzon. And there's no disrespect to Carlos Monzon, but I felt that Canelo was above the likes of Carlos Monzon, even though Carlos Monzon, one of the greatest Mexican fighters in history. Style was incredible. Aggressive, tenacious, and was a phenomenal fighter. Genuinely, his resume is impeccable. But even still, I felt Canelo had overachieved it with his talent and what he had done throughout his career, which was indeed a phenomenal resume. Now if this does indeed happen, your butt's moving back down. Your butt's moving back down in a heartbeat. That is what gonna happen when they make Crawford to fight Canelo. Now that's not enough. They want Jake Paul too. I'm like, and again, I am if Crawford understand this. And Rusty Cage, I'm about to go and talk about the spectacle aspect. I'm going to break that down, my differentiations of what spectacles are in the good and in the bad. And why Canelo versus Crawford was a good spectacle in my case. But let me address Jay Riggs real quick. When we talk about how we wanted Crawford, we're looking at, I'm not devaluing Canelo because of, let's see, I got my words messed up. When I say I'm devaluing Canelo, the public wanted Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. This isn't like we weren't asking for this fight. People may not have liked it, but most people, even if you didn't like the fight, you were saying, if we do get it, my gosh, I want to see it. I don't got to like it. I want to see it because this is still as lopsided as it may seem on paper. This is a legitimate opportunity for some historic stuff. And the only body that we can see to do that historic stuff would be Crawford. And even if Canelo beat Crawford, that wouldn't have dissuaded his resume. It wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. Remember, we can go back in history for other fighters who have brought people coming up in weight classes. And it's been like, oh my gosh, it didn't take away. Ali fought Bob Foster, and Bob Foster was light heavyweight champion of the world. Was arguably the best light heavyweight at that point in time. I don't even think it was arguable. I think it was like, this was a dog. Bob Foster was a dog at light heavyweight. A dog. He was a dog. I believe it was Bob Foster that Ali fought. That was like, like that brother was a menace, and he fought him, and then was able to beat him, but he didn't devalue him. He didn't devalue Ali and his legacy. It was like Bob Foster was great, phenomenal, lost to Ali, put up a good fight, but lost to Ali, got knocked out. That's not bad. Ali, man, brother, we thought somebody who could potentially match you in speed relatively, with you also being older, and with Bob Foster being somebody who looked like such a killer at light heavyweight, coming up to heavyweight, he looked like you would be able to fit right in. Challenging you, and you handling him like that, mad respect and mad impressive. And Bob Foster, we love you. You are still a phenomenal light heavyweight champion. Tried training at heavyweight. It didn't work. No issue. And we still value Bob Foster. And we still value Ali. Nothing gets taken away. That's what would have happened if Crawford fought him. That's what would have happened. Nothing would have been worse. It wouldn't have been anything outside of they were two greats that attempted greatness, and then boom. What happened happened. whatever the outcome is. Like even Marvin Hagler, when he called out Sugar Ray Leonard was drastically under him in terms of weight. When Hagler at 160 was calling him out. But we all still wanted to see that fight because we understood how transcendent of a talent Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard were. And people still wanted to see that fight, even at that stage, because it was like, yo, Leonard could give him a run. Leonard could do it. And ultimately, Leonard did do it when he finally got up to 160. But even still, I still think that Marvin Hagler won that fight. But regardless of which, it happened. Nobody's legacy was tarnished. Everybody's legacy was elevated or stayed the same. That's what happened if he fought Crawford. But since he fought Canelo, or since he potentially will fight Jake Paul, it is a menace and an absolute stain on my existence that I have to live through. That this is a potential reality. And since it's a potential reality, I am sick. Oh gosh, I'm sick. I'm sick of this happening. It'll be more historic if Canelo gets 2-time undisputed. If Canelo gets 2-time and then versus 2-time. Oh, okay. So if he becomes a 2-time undisputed and then gets 2-time undisputed, potentially that'll happen. I would have loved it. We even thought through the tune-ups that we were saying that both fighters will take, that it would be that we see Canelo fight William Scrawl, get undisputed, and then fight Crawford in September. 2-time undisputed versus 2-time undisputed. For the undisputed title, that was the dream scenario that we were all talking about. And William Scrawl was still on the docket. It wasn't like he ran out of time when it came to the world of talking about who's going to win. Or talking about prepping for each other. We had that as a possibility. And now, it just falls flat. Everything's dead. I'm just in shock. I'm blown away. I'm genuinely just blown away. I am genuinely blown away. Yo, what's up, Soldiers T? What's up with you? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time, hello and welcome to the Watch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday talking about the NBA, talking about boxing, and talking about whatever you want to discuss. Don't forget, we got the championship rounds coming up later on in the show. Trust and believe when that does happen. Whatever you want to discuss, whether it's basketball, boxing, sports, movies, video games, anime, don't matter to me. If I can talk about it, I'll be about it. If not, hey, I'll say sadly we got to pass and move on. But regardless of which, phone lines, we ain't got no phone connected, sadly, to the show at this point in time. Maybe it's something we'll add in the future. I don't know. Right now, we're still trying to make sure we got the chat up and running as accordingly. Because as people who've been here know, we've had some problems. Oh, yes, we have. But hey, it looks like everything was going through. Maybe in the future, we'll add some phone lines to it and have people calling in for whatever the case may be. We'll see what happens, absolutely. But at this point in time, we're doing chats. And whatever you want to chat, I can read. And we'll still have a conversation as if I'm right in your living room, sitting right beside you. Oh, yes, indeed. You can have your first takes. You can have your first things first. You can have all your shows in the media landscape. Ain't nothing better than what we got going on right here on the Watch Report, the hottest show in all the globe. And also, if you would, leave a like on the hottest show in the globe right here on the channel. We're also available on your podcasting platform. Again, shameless plug aside, but regardless of which, share the show with everybody. Let people know that this is happening. Oh, speaking of which, I got to make sure I put out the blast that this show is actively happening. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. Some of the normal viewers ain't here. Maybe they don't know that this is happening. Oh, my gosh. It's shocking all. But either way, regardless of which, as I'm typing the post to let everybody know that this is indeed the hottest show is here, in you all's opinion, and this will be the last thing that we'll touch on with Canelo for now. What is the next step for this entire segment, for this whole saga? Do you think talks all of a sudden reoccur? Do you feel that it will come back into fruition, that we'll see Canelo and Crawford legitimately just, hey, everything's all hunky-dory? Do you think it was Canelo asking for too much, and because he didn't get it, though he was, again, speculatively, though it seemed like he was going to get everything he would have wanted in this deal, he's the one that walked away? Do we think it was Crawford that walked away from this deal? Could it be that we're just assuming the worst? And it was actually Terrence Crawford that walked away from this fight altogether. And he's the one that stopped this fight from happening. Genuine. That there's so many questions that are left unanswered that have us scratching our head, genuinely asking what in the world made what looked to be a done deal, a fixed event, not a fixed fight, no, but a fixed event that was, this is going to be one of the biggest sporting events in history. This is going to be a era-defining fight. This was going to be a generational fight that we will be sitting and saying, where were you when Canelo fought Crawford? A legacy-defining fight, a legacy-elevating fight, a legacy-cementing fight. Either way, all three are both applicable and were unpredictable in how it could happen. The fight itself, even with as much as we're saying one person would win, or it looks like Canelo's going to be too much for Crawford. As much as the public may be feeling it, the public still felt this was a 50-50 affair. When polled, when voted on. Everybody is saying they wanted this fight. And now it just dies. It dies seemingly when it was on the cusp of being cemented without a hitch. It shocks me to no end. It genuinely does. It genuinely shocks me to no end. I'm at a loss. And again, it's my job to talk. I'm at a loss for words. I'm genuinely at a loss for words. But let's see what you got to say. So just what you got to say. I'm glad Canelo versus Crawford ain't happening. It needs to be Benavidez versus Canelo. And you know what? We can touch on that right now. That can be the next segment of the show. That's a great segue, actually. So just into this fight. When we talk about Canelo versus Benavidez, we wanted that fight more than anything else. Since Crawford and Canelo was here, we take it. We love it. The historical context made it intriguing. And the legitimate understanding of who Terence Crawford was made this a viable fight that was not out of the question. It wasn't something that was so outlandish that people were saying it couldn't be a reality. So we were glad we were having that fight. But we wanted Canelo versus Benavidez. We've been asking for that for over nearly 5 years. Now, Benavidez versus Canelo, every day it looks like it's not going to happen. More and more. Because of what we see Benavidez doing, what we see Canelo not doing. It would be so much different if that fight got canceled in terms of Crawford and Canelo, and now we see the talks with Benavidez and Canelo actually ramping up. But when the talks were available, when the talks were actually applicable, Canelo never came to the table. We forget that. Canelo never came to the table when the fight was at its zenith of anticipation and when the table was open for negotiation. When Benavidez was still at 168. When Benavidez first moved up to 175 and handled Gvozdyk, said he would come back down immediately to fight Canelo. Everything seemed like you had your opportunity. Now, Benavidez is saying he's not coming back down to 168. He's not coming back down to the division of Canelo. He's going and looking to fight for undisputed. He just beat Morrell, who was in that Canelo-Benavidez sweepstakes in the vein of this brother and Morrell could give both of them incredible trouble. Now, that is no longer the case. And we saw Benavidez dominated Morrell, completely dominated Morrell, handled him. Just like he handled Gvozdyk. Just like he handled every other opponent. Still throwing combinations. Still going to the body. Still having pinpoint accuracy. Still walking through a lot of Morrell's shots. When he did get rocked, he recovered within 10 seconds. And still won the round. He won just about every round on my card. Except for maybe round 1. It was a complete demolition job that people said Benavidez would not be able to do. Show the league's level above that he is of Morrell. He's right. Morrell will never be able to beat him, in my estimation, at least currently right now. That's what Benavidez said. And I agree. Unless we see Morrell continue to evolve, but this time at a more drastic rate, he's not going to be able to beat him. He's not going to be able to beat him. Because all that power he had, he only landed it twice. And one was after the bell. And the other one was a legitimate counter. And it rocked him. And then he recovered. And then he never landed that same thudding shot again. Never. You got power, but you can't use it. You got athleticism, but you got out-muscled. You got strength, but you ain't stronger. You got speed, but you ain't faster. You got heart, but you ain't got more than the other guy. You ain't got more than the monster. You can't beat him. And this would be the perfect opportunity to get Morrell or to get Benavidez and Canelo to get into the ring. But Benavidez has his sights set on his own legacy. Canelo is never going to take that fight. And I hate the fact that I'm saying that. But he's never going to take that fight. Canelo Alvarez is never going to take that fight with Benavidez. Because of every single opportunity that this was on the table to make it happen, he never made it happen. We've been waiting. We've been looking. We've been anticipating. The Crawford versus Canelo was the second option that we were saying if it takes place, it looks like a pipe dream. But if this does indeed come to fruition, we'll take it. It's not the end all be all that we want, but we'll take it. Now, I don't know what Benavidez does. I don't know what he looks. I don't know what I don't know what Canelo does. We know what Benavidez is going to do. Winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. That's his lane. That's his reign. That's what he's looking to accomplish, which will be incredible. But he's got his sights set on legacy. Canelo, he's got his sights set on money. And because it's set on money, it is legacy is in the background. Now, we have preached on this show multiple times that if you chase legacy, money will come to you. If you chase the legacy, you'll get the money. And we see Benavidez is about to get the biggest payday of his entire career. And if he does indeed accomplish the incredible and beat either Bivol or Beterbiev, he will be seen as one of the biggest faces in the sport. He will take his rightful place as one of the faces of boxing on the whole. He'll be undeniable. He'll be incredible. He will be someone that will be unavoidable. And that will be in the consciousness of everybody in the boxing landscape. And like the money will come. The money's already getting ready to come because when he does get his mandatory opportunity, which he has already been announced to be guaranteed, unlike with the likes when he was looking to face off against Canelo, he's gonna make a payday, a huge payday, because he's going after legacy. Canelo was going after legacy. And it got him all the money that it got. Everything I said about Benavidez now is what Canelo did when he was in his prime. He went after legacy. He went and fought Floyd. He went and fought Kirkland. He went and fought everybody that he could. It was great. Now, in the words of Showbiz the Adult, silk pajamas. He's wearing, he is wearing designer clothing without designing the clothing. He's not doing the work, but he's reaping the rewards. He's not, and it's like you earned the right, but you're still in your prime. You got work to do. And now you're sacrificing legacy, and it's going to hit you in the behind once your career is all said and done. And it's a shame. It's an outright shame. Again, Canelo is beyond legacy. Benavidez is getting crumbs. And it's like, and that's not what it should be. That's the thing. Benavidez is starving, and Canelo is full. But Canelo could still eat, and he could still be hungry, but he lost the hunger. Benavidez is about the legacy, and he's hungry. And he's been getting crumbs, absolutely. He's been overlooked in terms of the star power, not as a threat level, but the star power that he's had in his career. He's been overlooked unceremoniously, and it's been horrible. I hate the fact that Gervonta Davis is more popular and more in the consciousness of boxing than somebody like a Dave Benavidez. Because Benavidez has been doing everything right that Tank has never done in his career. Never. Benavidez has been doing everything that Tank refused to do. And Tank got all the rewards because he followed the Floyd Mayweather effect, the Floyd Mayweather plan of action. He did. Even to this day, even after coming from under the wing, he still is doing it. And he said himself, he doesn't care. He wants to, again, 3 years and he's gone. Lamont Roach is one of the 3 last fights of his career. That's horrible. We don't know if he's going to call out Teal. We don't know if he's going to call out the likes of any legitimate threat. Genuinely. The brother could call out in a way, for all we know. And anyways, my favorite fighter of all time, and is the second best fighter in the world, pound for pound. And from a talent perspective, is the best fighter in the world, in my estimation. But you call out Inoue, well, you're at 135 and he's at 122. That's ludicrous. That's preposterous. That's stupid. And so, like, Tank doing everything wrong gets all the awards. Benavidez doing everything right has been having to scrap and claw to get the respect that he deserves. But when we look back at the end of the story, it's going to be that Benavidez was about it from beginning to end. Benavidez will supersede the likes of Tank. Tank will be forgotten. Benavidez won't. Tank's going to be left behind. Benavidez won't. Tank's going to be seen as somebody who was a spectacle, truly a spectacle, but nothing more. Benavidez is going to be about a brother who's going to be talked about as one of the greats in history. That's what we're looking at. And like you couldn't tell me any different because we've seen this story countless times. Even with the likes of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is the prime example of this. We're looking at Floyd's career. And even with the 23 champions that he beat, all that stuff, he's still one of the greatest, don't get me wrong. But now the true scope of his career is being looked at in a different light now. You took on a lot of people that were at the right time. You fought Pacquiao 5 years too late. You didn't fight Keith Thurman. You didn't fight the likes of Errol Spence Jr. when he was coming up. Even when you were older. When it was still, hey, you were dominant, one of the best in the division. You had a robbery win in your career. And what was it? Was it Castillo 1 that you outright did lose, but you got credit for no good reason? You beat him the second time, absolutely. And so it's like the scrutiny of Floyd's career wasn't out of hate, but it was out of time. In time, in the moment, greatest thing since sliced bread. The GOAT. Better than Ali. That's what his own fans were saying. Stupidly. Ignorant. Outright unashamedly. Horrible. TBE, the best ever. He never was. Never will be. One of the greats. No question. But what this career is now, we look at it at a completely different light. He is still holding himself or having to hype himself up as what he is in the grand scheme of boxing. Because of what we are now looking at him as now. Because he now feels the effects of not doing the best work when he could have. You see it when he talks. You see it in press conferences. Always talking, almost self-centered, almost selfishly. Using other fighters' spotlights as his own. Genuinely. It's a problem. I'm not saying he isn't helping the sport. I'm not saying he isn't helping young fighters learn, but it's a problem. You see it. Because you see how the landscape of boxing is now looking at him. History is not looking at him what he thought it would look at him as when his career was over. Now that time has truly gone on. It's because the moves that you make, they will come to light in terms of the context of all of your career, comparative to others that did more than you, both in the past and potentially in the present. I'm not hating on Floyd, but I'm saying that's the perfect example of where Canelo is headed, where Tank is at right now, and where he's going to be once this year is out, when he's gone from the sport. Canelo's legacy is going to be diminished because of the fights that he took when he was in his prime, still in his prime right now, instead of doing the work that should have been done. Even with the fights that we thought he would win, like with Crawford versus Canelo, that seemingly were lopsided in his favor. Still, the brother didn't do it. And if he does take the Jake Paul fight, took a fight with a brother who you have no business being in the ring with, because that would degrade you to step in the ring with him on a professional level. The fact that Jake Paul was in the ring with Mike Tyson is a disrespect to Mike Tyson. The fact that Jake Paul potentially will get in the ring with the likes of a Canelo is a disrespect to Canelo. And so this is a problem. And it's going to bite him in the butt. I promise you. It's going to bite him in the butt. I guarantee you. Where was the same fans when Benavidez didn't chase the belts at 168? He waited for Canelo to get to 168 and unify. And then unify. Then he wanted to go for the belts. Facts. So, understand. Benavidez was a champion. Benavidez, he became a champion. He got stripped. What was it for? He got stripped for something. I can't remember what he got stripped for. Got the belt back. And then for 3 years was promised that he would be officially announced by the WBC as the mandatory for Canelo. Had held the number one mandatory spot for Canelo for countless times. And this said, okay, yeah, cocaine. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was coke. Excuse me. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, he had done drugs while he was champion. Got stripped because the drugs had found his system. Popped. Went out. And then, and he was overweight also. But then, got it back, got his life together, regained the title, or regained the interim title, and was, when everything was set in stone, and he was aptly doing the work, and it was like, okay, he turned into the monster that we know. Everything dedicated and focused. Life back together, family, beautiful. Everything is driven by one goal. He was mandatory for 3 years as the number one person. Now, we've covered this in the past. Understand, it is not the fighter that activates the mandatory. You can go look in the bylaws on the WBC website. It is not the fighter that activates the mandatory to be needed to be defended. It is the commission, the belt commission, that enforces the mandatory. They are the ones, not the fighter. The commission is the one that enforced the fight to happen. They are the ones, like the IBF, like they did with Terrence Crawford, like they did with just recently with Canelo, stripping him of William Squall, stripping him of the IBF title and giving it to William Squall. The second Crawford won the title, they stripped him. But they let, in terms of the IBF, they let Spence hold on to it without defending his mandatory for the longest time. Spence was still fighting top contenders, don't get me wrong. He was. But in terms of fighting the mandatory, they never enforced it on Spence. But they enforced it on Crawford the second he won the title. With Canelo holding all the IBF belts, he then got stripped. When the IBF official, or when Canelo held all the undisputed belts, he then got stripped by the same commission, IBF, when they enforced William Squall's mandatory. But even when nobody wanted to see William Squall was the number one fighter in the IBF rankings. And they said if Canelo doesn't defend against him, he is stripped. They enforced it, and he immediately did it. And so it's like, Benavidez was there. Benavidez was the number one fighter on everybody's list to fight for the title, specifically on the WBC. And he never got even when his trainer went to Suleiman in a public press conference and got him to verbally say it, Suleiman didn't enforce it until after Benavidez was already getting ready to move up to 175. And it was like, hey, you got 2 weeks or a week or whatever the case may be. And it was like, at this point, I've already prepped myself to go up to 175 to fight and potentially take on undisputed at light heavyweight. So it's like, even with that decision, it's too late. I'm already prepped and ready. I'm here now. And so Benavidez chased Canelo because Canelo had all the belts before Benavidez could unify. Like, Canelo got the opportunity to fight Billy Joe Saunders, not Benavidez. Canelo got the opportunity to fight the likes of who was it? Caleb Plant. And then Benavidez fought him right literally as soon as he could afterwards. Benavidez never got the opportunity to fight for these titles because everybody else was getting in front of him for the Canelo bag. Because either A, they were a title contender, or B, the WBC or the belt conventions put them in front. But hey, there you go. And so Benavidez has been a situation of bad circumstances, out of his control, when he's been genuinely fighting and chasing everybody, beating the best available option, beating threats, beating people that are genuinely in a position to derail his entire run. Are we gonna say he's running from Canelo now when he fought the likes of Morrell? Canelo didn't even fight Morrell when Morrell was moving up and looking like a major threat. At a bigger division, Benavidez fought him. And it's like, we can't say that he hasn't been taking on everything, just like with Terrence Crawford, when Crawford was genuinely going through, and because he was just on the wrong side of the street, he never got his opportunity at Spence, though it should have came so much sooner. But he still handled his business every other opportunity until he finally got deemed as mandatory and was in the position to actually get the brass ring he was deserving of getting. That's where Benavidez is falling into. And that's why it's a problem for Canelo. Because now, brother, the only way that we can get a Canelo fight is if we see Benavidez become undisputed at 175. Specifically, if he can beat Bivol and then go see Bivol and then see Canelo, if you're still about that smoke, come move up and fight me. Because I beat the brother that beat you. If that does pan out as such. Let's see if you're really about wanting your get back now. Let's see if I'm too small for you. If I can't draw enough for you. If I'm too much of a monster. Now I'm at 175. You can't say I'm too big if I'm fighting at a division that is bigger. That you now fought at 175. Bivol was bigger than you. Bivol weighed more than you on the night of the fights. You know what? You were more than happy to fight him at 175. Am I too big for 175 now? I ain't got no power. Am I still too big? I ain't got no pop no more. Seemingly, am I still too big? You saw me get rocked. Am I still too big? If anything, every excuse to fight Benavidez now at 175 is literally lining up for Canelo to face off against him. Because the two biggest things, power and chin, have been tested and seemingly are diminished. And by chin, I mean he got rocked at 175, recovered incredibly quickly, but hey, you can hurt him at 175. And you can also potentially take more of his power because his power isn't the same. Because he wasn't able to knock out Morrell, couldn't knock out Gvozdyk. Everything else is the same, except for those two aspects. Those two aspects in most of the public eye are the biggest aspects in Benavidez's arsenal. And so now, with that seemingly gone, quote unquote, in the eyes of Canelo, what's your excuse? The only thing that we're going to see actually happen is if that fight does transpire, it would be because Bivol got beat by Beterbiev. It's because Bivol got beat by Benavidez after he beats Beterbiev, if he beats Artur Beterbiev. That's it. Did I guarantee you this? If we see that Artur Beterbiev beats Bivol and then Benavidez beats Beterbiev, even at that point, I promise you that fight will never happen. I promise you. It's more likely that if you want to see Canelo win, you better hope and pray. Or if you want to see Canelo fight Benavidez, you better hope and pray that you see Beterbiev lose to Bivol in the rematch. You better hope and pray. You better hope and pray. You better hope and pray that you see Beterbiev lose in this rematch. Because if Beterbiev wins this rematch against Bivol and then loses to Beterbiev, when Beterbiev gets his undisputed mandatory opportunity, which he's guaranteed, Canelo would never face him. You thought he was a boogeyman now to Canelo. If Canelo beats Beterbiev, after Beterbiev beats Bivol for a second time, and Benavidez beats him for undisputed, there's no way that we'll see Dave Benavidez versus Canelo ever in my life. Never. You think he's ducking now, brother? He won't even say David. He won't even say David when it comes to Benavidez. He'll say that guy. He'll say he'll say him. He'll say every adjective and noun possible before he even speaks the words David Benavidez. If we see Benavidez beat Beterbiev, if that's the matchup that happens for undisputed, and that fight, you think it's impossible now, that fight will never happen. You won't even be able to dream about that fight because that fight will never happen. If we see that transpire, I guarantee you, I guarantee that won't be the case. Promise you. I love how Morrell held his own I thought was great fight for fans, but how Benavidez got on the mic and said that's why they call me the monster. He didn't hurt him. Again, a monster isn't just about. Oh, and then you said I'd rather see Benavidez versus Canelo, so the fans win. Absolutely, I'm fully with you on it. When it comes to Benavidez being called not a monster anymore, if you have to understand, a monster isn't just somebody who can hurt you. A monster is somebody who can, even if their power isn't the same, they still fight exactly the same and render you just as helpless. It wasn't that Morrell got hurt by Benavidez, but it's the fact that Morrell, even in surviving all 12 rounds, it was so complete of a domination that even the highlights for Morrell, like hurting Benavidez, were overshadowed within 10 seconds because Benavidez went right back on the barn burner and legitimately won the round still, and outclassed him in every which way. And it's the fact that without the power, I'm still the monster. Like the biggest, when seemingly I was defanged at this new division, Morrell, who should have been able to do everything in his power to render me null and void in my ability, could not do a thing against me. I think that's what many people may fail to see. That's why he's still the monster. Because even without power at having the same effect, Morrell still looked so outclassed that it's just as if Benavidez had power. Because even though he didn't hurt him, like rock him and stun him and hurt him, all that stuff, Benavidez had his way with him, just like he did with Gvozdyk. And just like he did with Caleb Plant, David Morrell, and others. That was it. Without me making you stumble, I hit you every which way. And I blocked everything. Notice, most of Morrell's offense was blocked. And it was like, oh, he's a slick defender. Benavidez made his own openings. A skill that we hadn't seen him use at the light heavyweight division. A skill. Go watch Teddy Atlas in his breakdown of that whole fight. He said it himself. Brother, I was shocked. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect Morrell to be that outclassed offensively by Benavidez being able to make openings on every which way that Morrell tried to move. And there was nothing Morrell could do. He said that, not me. That's somebody who's been in the business for over 40 years. One of the most respected voices in combat sports history, regardless of whether it's the UFC or boxing. And that man said he didn't expect that. I expected that because I had seen him do that in the past against other fighters at 168. And so it's like, but he just hadn't shown it at 175. But he showed it even more now against David Morrell. And he outclassed him and made Morrell look helpless, useless, look so far beneath him that people were questioning why in the world was this a competitive fight on paper. Why did we say that Morrell could give you some trouble when this is what we saw? And this is not disrespect to David Morrell. This is all respect to what we saw Benavidez do to Morrell. Benavidez made Morrell look so weak without power. He made Morrell look so helpless without power on his side. Still had the same level of outright dominance. Did everything that we said he would do and has been doing his entire career without power on his side. He walked Morrell down. He stalked Morrell. He had offense while coming forward. He made Morrell fight on the back foot. He took the shots of Morrell. He blocked almost all the shots of Morrell. He still landed 40% of his power punches while holding Morrell to almost sub 30. He still attacked the body like we've seen him do every which way. And Morrell couldn't do a thing to stop it. And he stopped most of Morrell's offense to the point that even though he was susceptible to getting caught clean and Morrell had the power to hurt him and potentially stop him, he only got caught once. Cleanly, he only got caught once with a counter. That wasn't even a full-blown power counter. It was a shot in the flurries of combinations. And he got caught, got buckled, and got back, and immediately went back up. The knockdown that he even suffered wasn't even a knockdown. He blocked a shot with his back and shoulder, but got thrown off balance because his footing was off. But it wasn't a shot that landed, but it still got called a knockdown wrongly. And even that was like, even the crowd was booing because they knew that was fake. This was a complete and utter domination, the likes of which we had seen countless times before. And that's scary when you don't have power on your side. We still call Pacquiao a monster, even though when he moved up in divisions, he wasn't still knocking people out like he was genuine. Like, this is the reality of the situation. Power isn't everything when it comes to what a monster is. It isn't. Pernell Whitaker was a monster. Everybody didn't have a whole lot of power. It's true. Canelo Loche. We just named, when we talked about Shakur being an entertaining fighter, we brought up other names that were exciting, that were also defensive, like Pernell Whitaker, James Toney, Canelo Loche, and others, Floyd Mayweather. And they were monsters, all of them, without having, well, James Toney had power, excuse me. Pernell Whitaker didn't have a whole lot of power. Canelo Loche didn't have a whole lot of power at all. But he was 123, 127 wins, and like 3 defeats, maybe even only 1 defeat in his career, with less than 20 knockouts to his name. Willie Pep won rounds without throwing a punch. They were monsters without needing power. And those are just defensive examples. Sean Porter was a monster. Sean Porter was one of my favorite fighters. That buddy didn't have power at all. But had 10, 12 knockouts in his 30 wins? Wasn't a powerful puncher. But he was a monster of a fighter. Multi-division champion. Multi-time champion. Gave Spence the fight of his life. Was beating Terrence Crawford before he ultimately got knocked out and stopped. Monsters aren't just about power. Monsters are about the fighter. A monstrous fighter isn't just a powerful fighter. A monstrous fighter can be a slick fighter. A monstrous fighter can be a counterpuncher. A monstrous fighter can be a pot shotter. A monstrous fighter can be a defensive menace, a swarmer, a brawler. Knocking people out ain't the only thing that makes you a monster. It is the complete and utter domination that you show on display. If Inoue, I'll bring up Inoue. If Inoue versus Paul Butler, if that fight had ended with a 12-round unanimous decision, not one knockdown, unlike in the 11th round when he knocked him out with a body shot and then a flurry to the head, if that didn't happen and it was just Paul Butler shelling up and moving around the ring and never got hurt or rocked, but was just surviving like he had been doing up until that point in time, would we still be saying that Inoue wasn't a monster? Or would we still saying, see, this is what he does to opponents? Even if he doesn't knock you out, he makes your only objective is to survive and shell up. That's it. That's your only course of making it out, is to not throw punches and shell up and never go and take a chance. And if he didn't get knocked down and was never hurt, but had that level of still domination, we wouldn't be saying that, oh, in a way, does he have power? Has he lost it? What's going on? He would have been saying, look, the brother, the only way that he could survive was to literally be defensive the entire fight. And even without a knockout, he still made a statement. That's what Benavidez did against Morrell. He made a statement without needing power. He made a statement versus Gvozdyk without needing power. Power isn't what makes Benavidez such a great fighter. Him as a skillful fighter makes him a great fighter, makes him a monster. It does. And it ain't like he ain't got the power. Maybe it's not to knock you out, just one shot, but it still is enough to make you respect him, even though, especially at 175. Like he was knocking Morrell's head back. He was forcing Morrell to shell up. Not just because, the volume, but there was something coming behind those punches. Let's not act like nothing was there. He was breaking through the guard of Morrell. That only lacking power doesn't let you do that. Precision alone doesn't just let you do that. Power, you gotta have something coming up behind that to knock your head up back with uppercuts, to knock Morrell's head back with jabs, to force Morrell to be on the back foot, Not just because of pressure, but because of there is some sting coming behind those punches with David Benavidez. So he's more than a monster. David Benavidez is a monster more than just his power. He is one of the most skillful boxers in the world. Not just in the division, in the world. In the world. And that brother is a menace in every aspect. It continues to evolve and get better and better and better. That's what makes him a monster. A complete overshadowing of your own skill sets that makes you seem obsolete. That's what he does. And it's incredible. And that's why I love him. Second why I love him. And again, it's comical how people still want to minimize Benavidez. And again, Jay Wiggs and anybody else who may not have been impressed by this win by Benavidez, maybe it's not that you're diminishing, but the expectations of Benavidez is so high that when it doesn't happen the way that we think it should happen, it can have us asking questions. I completely understand it. That's why hopefully I'm here to give you a different perspective to help you understand truly what it is that makes these fighters so dominant, even when one aspect of their game isn't as poignant as we normally see it. So hopefully that helps put back into perspective what the monster moniker of Benavidez is and why he's so great. Because even without power, without power, he did that to David Morrell. Without power that he had at 168, he did that to one of the most physically gifted specimens in the 168 and 175 pound division. He did that to an amateur pedigree fighter, a Cuban amateur pedigree fighter that had been knocking people out left, right, and center. He did that to a brother who had been one of the most feared punchers and one of the most physically gifted athletes that should have been able to take hold of whatever Benavidez was able to do and turn it on its head. He did that to that David Morrell. That's without hurting him severely. When the biggest thing was we were saying he got to get respect from Morrell. And if he can do that, it's great. He didn't even rock him. And he was still able to make Morrell submit to whatever he wanted to do. Made Morrell look like, by the end of that fight, Morrell couldn't even garner a smile. Because he knew, shoot, I couldn't do a thing with this brother. I got outclassed to the point where I accepted. Do you understand that? I got outclassed to the point that I have to accept it. I got beat so bad, I have to admit, I got beat bad. There's nothing I can say that to make this out as a good fight for me. There was nothing. He showed some stuff, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, it was a phenomenal fight. It was a great friendly fight. But in his own performance, there was nothing that he could garner that could give him any sort of recompense except for, I'm going to get better. I'll be back. That's all he could say. Because that's all that needed to be said. Because there was nothing else he could say to make the situation anything different outside of, I got destroyed, I got beat, I got outclassed, and he didn't even have the power to rock me, and I couldn't do a thing to stop him. But he negated everything I had at my own disposal. I only got one good shot in that legitimately affected him. And then after that, and before that, I landed nothing of significance. And after that, I really didn't land anything of significance afterwards. Up until I got desperate and Benavidez legitimately got tired in the later rounds, 11 and 12, or 10, 11 and 12. That's it. That's the only way. It's the only reason. That's the only reason why he had some level of success, was because Benavidez was gaining his breath. That's it. That's the only reason why he was able to do anything. That is a monstrous performance, if I've ever seen, from my perspective anyway. And so, and almost forgot, Rusty Cage, you brought up a conversation earlier. What was it? Where was it at? Real quick, you brought up a great conversation about the world of spectacles. If I can bring it up in the chat below, it's here somewhere. Give me a sec. But you brought up a conversation about how there it is. about how both fighters were spectacles to them in terms of Canelo and Crawford, as we're again switching gears. And we're about to touch on the NBA and then championship rounds right after this. But when we look at the world of this fight with Crawford and Canelo, there are good spectacles and there are bad spectacles. A bad spectacle is Jake Paul. A bad spectacle is Floyd versus Conor McGregor. A bad spectacle is Floyd Mayweather versus Gotti. The mob boss Gotti. But in the exhibition. That's a bad spectacle. But when it comes to a legitimate spectacle, a good spectacle, Tank versus Ryan Garcia, Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield, Joe Frazier versus Muhammad Ali, Inoue versus Nonito Donaire, Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, Canelo versus Floyd Mayweather. Those are good spectacles. A spectacle isn't just Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya. Let's not forget that was a spectacle. Let's not forget Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya. That was a fight that many people were saying Pacquiao ain't got no business moving up that high. Let's be frank. A completely one-sided affair on Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya. That seemed like De La Hoya would be able to beat him, destroy him, because Pacquiao wasn't just the fastest brother in the ring no more. When it came to Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy, and De La Hoya had power. So it was like, yo, Pacquiao, I think you might have bitten off more than you can chew. And then, brother, Pacquiao goes in and retires the brother. Like again, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran. With Duran moving up from lightweight, like, you see what I'm saying? And the first fight was an absolute war that Duran won. Second fight, hey, Duran got destroyed. He quit. No mas, understandable. But understand, context of the second fight, Roberto Duran, just like what's his name? That's it. Roberto Duran, just like with Andy Ruiz, excuse me, I had to make sure I had the name right. Roberto Duran, just like Andy Ruiz, after that first fight, let himself go, was drinking, smoking, wasn't training hard, took the fight on short notice, and then you saw what happened. And so that wasn't even the best Roberto Duran that Sugar Ray Leonard fought the second time. But regardless of which, that first fight was incredible. And it was some big concern because of the weight discrepancy involved. Shoot, Tyson Fury and Usyk was incredibly dangerous because of the weight discrepancy that Usyk was giving up. Even then, it was still, that's why we were saying Usyk's pound for pound number one, because of the very instance of you giving up 40 pounds in weight. He gave up 40 pounds in weight to Tyson Fury and still was phenomenal. And it's like, yeah, and legend. Hey, yo, also, hold on. Legendary Super Saiyan, I was in the flow. How you doing? Glad you're here. Glad you're tuning into the show. Hopefully you left a like on the stream. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you did your due diligence to make this show the best it can be by giving us, by liking the stream, and by liking the show, and by liking everything we got going on. Also, excuse me for 1 second. Also, excuse me for 1 second. Also, excuse me for 1 second. I'm so sorry. I muted everything because I didn't want y'all to hear me coughing. I didn't want y'all to have to experience that in the slightest. But regardless of which, when we're looking at the landscape of this fight, or what was supposed to be this fight, the ramifications have been consistently, we've seen fights with weight discrepancies and big concerns before, but they're mega fights because the fighters involved, one, were incredible, and two, the fights that were happening were indeed something to behold because of the weight discrepancy and the added threat of, can this guy truly overcome this big obstacle? They have the ability to do it. But can they actually make it a reality? That's the question. And that's why that's why it's so great. That's why it's so exciting. That's why it's so fun. That's why it's something that we actually latch onto, that we rely on, that we hold on as a real opportunity for success in a thrilling fight while we get attached to it. Those are the fights that truly make us look at a situation and say, this is what we want. This is worth our time, and this is significant. This means something to me. That's what these fights brought. And so it ain't just because of the fact that we can't just look at the spectacle of weight as the thing that we don't want to see fights happen. Because if that was the case, that would stop a lot of fights that we've had throughout history actively taking place. It would have. We would have never seen Manny Pacquiao do what Manny Pacquiao did. Ray Leonard would have never been as great as he was. Roy Jones Jr., laughable. Because he would have never taken the risk that he took. And it wouldn't have been accepted as, yes, we want to see it. We want to see this. It ain't just about how we want divisions internally to go and fight it out. Absolutely. That's a given. But I would be careful to detract from the better from the matchups that can happen when people choose to literally jump the shark and just say, that's too much. Because we've seen countless times, everything that was too much is now turned into history. Usyk versus Tyson Fury turned into history. Inoue versus Stephen Fulton at 122, that turned into history. It did. Canelo moving up from 154 to 160, history. These matchups have to happen. Canelo moving up to 175 to beat Kovalev, history. We forget that. He didn't just lose to Bivol, he beat Kovalev. Yes, Kovalev was older, I completely understand it. Past his prime. But even that Kovalev was still a powerful Kovalev that could have, if he caught Canelo, brother, how was this chin going to take it? What's his body going to be able to do? Similar to the things that we were saying about David Benavidez. And he was able to take and knock him out. A Kovalev who had been to war with the likes of Andre Ward and had been at his best, one of the best light heavyweights that we had seen in the modern generation, or of the past generation, excuse me. And he knocks him out. That's impressive. That's something. Knocks him out, became a champion. That means something. That is significant. But it took a ridiculous risk to make that type of history happen. So I would be slow to jump on the bandwagon of fights shouldn't happen strictly because of the insane type of weight discrepancy. I'd be slow. Because in many situations, those fights are indeed the fights that turn the tide of history in the era of boxing that we live in, or that was at that point in time. It's okay. Hence, I still would love to see it if it did indeed happen, but if it doesn't, we'll have to see what transpires. But either way, what's going on? Freeze, Tim. What's good with you? How you doing? Glad that you're here. Glad that you're tuning into the show. Hopefully you're enjoying everything we got going on this channel. Don't forget, we still got to talk about the NBA real quick, and then the championship rounds are coming right after this. But regardless of which, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you with all the thumbs up and all the likes that you're bringing in. Please, again, like the stream to help push it to the algorithms. We got 13 people in the stream right now, watching and listening, waiting on bated breath to see what else is going to transpire in the world of sports today. I'm here to break everything down to you and give you all the best opinions, debates, introspective thoughts, and just outright full-blown fun that I can provide. So I appreciate you tuning in to the show. Also, Super Saiyan, what you got to say? Now I want to see Canelo versus Beterbiev, or Bivol winner versus Benavidez. Let me look. I'd want to see that. Now, as much as I'd want to see it, I know Canelo would never take that fight. Canelo would never take that fight. If it happened, you want to look, the respect for if Canelo, let me tell you something right now. If we saw Canelo call out the likes of Archer Beterbiev and genuinely, Cause we've seen him against Bivol. Understandable. If he's already said he wants us to get back against Bivol at 175. But if we see him call out Beterbiev at 175, that my respect for him will be through the roof. If we saw him not just call out Benavidez, but also call out Beterbiev, and it was like whoever wins that Russian roulette of undisputed between Beterbiev, Bivol, and Benavidez, the Triple B, literally the battle of the Bs, the Triple B gauntlet. Whoever comes out on top of that, he calls out, if it is Beterbiev or Benavidez, he calls out one of them or both of them. My respect for him would be through the roof. That would be insane. Look, Canelo has entertained fighting Beterbiev before. That's great. That's news to me. I've never seen him do that. I haven't seen that happen. The only name I've seen consistently come out of his mouth at 175 is Bivol. I never heard anything about Beterbiev. I didn't even hear anything about Beterbiev until, after Beterbiev beat Bivol for the title. I didn't see him getting, I was saying, yo, why aren't you calling Beterbiev out now after he beat the man that beat you? Where is that same bravado? I was calling him out because I had seen what he had been doing, calling out Bivol all this time, even when he returned to 168, wanting it to get back at 175. But if he did call him out and I missed it, my gosh, that's my apologies. But if he didn't call him out, my gosh. And if he did call him out now, my respect for him would be through the roof. It would be through the roof. I would love that. Now, would he lose? Absolutely. Against Beterbiev? Oh, he's losing that. He's getting knocked out. Bivol beat him. Bivol beat him, outboxed him. Beterbiev will destroy him. Beterbiev will destroy Canelo. At 175, Beterbiev would destroy Canelo. He would kill him. He would kill him dead. Put him in the dirt. Oh gosh, he would shave off years of his career if Beterbiev fought against Canelo. Brother, you want to talk about it would be so monstrous. We would be screaming, stop the fight. You saw what he did to Bivol through the guard. You saw what he did to Bivol through the guard of Bivol when Bivol was blocking most of his punches. You mean to tell me against Canelo? Canelo versus the pound for pound, arguably best puncher today? 100%, almost 100% knockout ratio. The only man to survive him is the man that beat Canelo in Bivol, which shows just how great his chin is. But my gosh, as great as again, and this is not a slight at Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is one of the greatest middleweights of all time. You beat a Golovkin that was being feared by everybody. Completely, all praise to you. Beterbiev ain't Gennady Golovkin. Beterbiev ain't Triple G. From a power standpoint. Boxing, you can have an argument. You can talk about the boxing skill. But from a power standpoint, Beterbiev is not Triple G. You ain't taking those types of shots and you're going to keep on kicking. He's not Triple G. He ain't Benavidez. Shoot, he ain't even Canelo. And Canelo is be able to run through divisions and carry his power. He is above all of that. Beterbiev is above Tank. Beterbiev is on par right now with Deontay Wilder. In terms of pound for pound punchers in the world, no, he's not on that level. And he's got the skill set to render a slick boxer and a powerful boxer null and void because he's done it against everybody. He beat Anthony Yard. He beat up Anthony Yard. He beat up Bivol. He beat up every single light heavyweight in his wake. He's knocked down Usyk at light heavyweight in the amateurs. You understand that? With a clean, and it wasn't like a Bivol. It wasn't like a Dubois on the belt line. Was it dirty or was it clean shot? A clean hook to the midsection above the belt line. Clean. No issue, no qualms. Knocked that brother down and had him on his knees. In the amateurs. So let's not act like they're on the same page. They ain't. I want to see it. I would love it if it happened. But I tell you what, Canelo would die. Canelo would die. Die a bloody death. He would die a bloody death. It would be something that you would see in a movie. It would be like something you've seen in a movie. It would be a massacre. It would be the Mexican massacre on Mexican Independence Day. I promise you, if that did happen, it would be a Mexican massacre. If that fight did take place, he would destroy him. He would kill Canelo. I'm so serious. And I'm not saying that because I'm hating on Canelo. No, I'm saying that because I know what Better Be brings to the table. That brother against Canelo would destroy that brother. Would destroy that cat. Destroy him. Oh my gosh, he would destroy him. He'd kill him. He would kill him. Also, yo, Fire Fraser, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Happy that you come aboard on the hottest show in all the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Appreciate you tuning in. Glad that we're having so much fun. Again, we're winding down the boxing segment. We're getting ready to go into the NBA real quick. We've had so many trades happen, and the trade deadline is an hour away. We got to talk about that right now, as well as we got the championship rounds coming up also. Again, this might be, I'm telling you, this might be, this could be, for all I know, potentially, a 2-3 hour show. Who knows how far this thing may go, because we got so much to cover, so much news. It's the last show of the week. Potentially, unless we do something special on the weekend, who knows? But either way, we got to give you everything I got, and I'm going to do it right now. And so, but we still got more to cover on the show. I completely recant that. I just rewatched some random asking Canelo would he fight Better Be if he beats Bebo? And he replies, if he moves up, then he will fight Bebo. Okay, then I completely understand. No problem. Again, this is why we're here. Everybody helps us to learn and grow. If he did say he'll fight him, he'll fight him. No issue there. I hadn't seen it since you saw it. That's an interview I missed. If he does do it, love it. If he doesn't do it, hey, falls right in line. If he did fight, would be a spectacle. And let me make sure I read that comment right. I completely recant that. I just rewatched some random asking Canelo, would he fight Better Be if he beats Bebo? And he replies with, if he moves up, then he would fight Bebo. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. So let me make sure I got this right. Okay. So yeah, he wants to, see, yeah, see, I told you. I'm not crazy. See. So you recant your last statement. He completely ignored Better Be, and he said if he moved up, he would fight Bebo, but didn't mention anything. Didn't even answer the question about him fighting Better Be if he stepped in the ring. So yeah, see, we're on the same page. Canelo doesn't want no part of Better Be. If Canelo did fight Better Be, he would die. He knows it. He respects Better Be, and he also knows he can't. That's a type of power and that's a type of skill combined. He can't beat that. Oh, his chin is great. It's all time. It ain't at that level. It ain't that. If he does survive 12 rounds, he will be a changed man for the worse. It will be the equivalent of when we saw Ali and Frazier get years of their career ripped away, of their prime ripped away because of the war that they had with each other. That would happen, but it would only happen to Canelo. Years of his prime, the best of Canelo would be ripped asunder, toe up, absolutely rendered useless for the rest of his career if he fought against Bebo. Better Be. If he fought against Better Be, there would be no contest, none. It would be such a spectacle disaster on the side of Canelo. It would have us questioning, is this truly the sport that we love, that we willingly watch this level of violence on one man occur? It would be so traumatic if they fought against each other. It would be scary in the worst way possible. I dare say it would be like it would be like when Canelo fought Charlo. It would be just like that, but Canelo in this case is Charlo. He gets forced into that situation because he's taking so much punishment, it's too much for him to bear. Boy, you want to talk about something horrendous. It would be a dance of death. That's what the fight would be. The fight would be billed as the dance of death. Because if Canelo doesn't survive, he's dancing his way into an early grave when it comes to his boxing career. Because years shaved, ripped away. If that fight ever happened, my gosh, that would be horrifying. I love to see it. But my gosh, it would be horrifying. But again, We got to switch gears. We have to. We talked about the world of boxing. Everything I can cover, we can cover. Now we have to talk about the NBA as we have in the title. Because the deadline is an hour away. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, we are here in the midst of one of the biggest trades in history taking place. If you are an NBA fan, we got to touch on it. Within the hour, the trade deadline will be over. And if you haven't been keeping up with the NBA, understand the landscape and the fabric of the league has changed wholeheartedly. If you went away from the NBA, you need to come back right now. There is no thing that should hold you from witnessing this spectacle that's happening in the league right now. Because as we speak, Luka Doncic is now a Laker. Anthony Davis is now a Maverick. De'Aaron Fox is now a San Antonio Spur. Zach LaVine is now a Sacramento King pairing back up with DeMar DeRozan. Dalton Knecht got traded, and he's now on the Hornets, and Mark Williams is now on the Lakers, and the Lakers got their big man. It's been so Jimmy Butler. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Jimmy Butler. The saga is over. The saga's over. The saga's over. The saga's over. Jimmy Butler is no longer a Miami Heat. He is now a member of the Golden State Warriors. And it is now Steph and Jimmy and Draymond Green as their new trio to be able to take the world, or try to take the world by storm, and right the ship that has been the sinking ship on this Warriors franchise. Talk about an insane turn of events within the span of merely 2 days. And stuff could still be happening right now. I am still looking through my stuff right now to make sure I'm not missing anything. Something could happen right now, and we see another trade get moved. But as we're speaking real quick, let's break down some of the other moves. We talked about Anthony Davis and the Lakers trade. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we got some more breaking news in the boxing world. I'm sorry. We got some more breaking news in the boxing world. I apologize. It has now been confirmed. But if you left, come back. And if you're here, turn your volume up. Because we just got some world in the breaking news revolving Canelo. Per Eddie Hearn. And on the Ring Magazine Twitter, Canelo versus Jake Paul is a done deal. I repeat, per Eddie Hearn, Canelo versus Jake Paul is now officially a done deal. It is not hyperbole. It is not a fluke. It is not something that is just a notion. It is confirmed by Eddie Hearn 18 minutes ago on the Ring Twitter website. Canelo versus Jake Paul is a done deal. And it is now like, that's all you can say. That is all what is going on? What is going on? This is real. This is real. I repeat, Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul is a done deal per Eddie Hearn. That is not hyperbole. This is not a fluke. This is on the official Ring Magazine Twitter 18 minutes ago. Just got posted. It is real. Eddie Hearn has said that Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez are going to fight. And he's hearing that the fight is officially a done deal. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I genuinely cannot believe this is, brother, do you see why? Do you see why we do this? Do you see why we do this show? Do you see why we make these? Do you see why we love what we do? This is why we love what we do. This is why but oh my gosh. It's like you can't get better. You can't get better. Again, I'm repeating for those who are just tuning in. It has now been confirmed that Canelo Alvarez and Jake Paul are now officially fighting per Eddie Hearn. And the Ring Magazine Twitter page just put out 18 minutes ago. The official page. It's a done deal. It's a done deal and it's happening. Canelo Alvarez is fighting Jake Paul sometime this year, potentially in May. And it is no longer a pipe dream. And I am shook. I'm shook. I'm genuinely shook. And it's like, oh my gosh. You know what? At this point, Real quick, I'll cover some. We're going, brother. Look. Oh.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
Oh my gosh. I can't. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Well, since shameless plug, please like the stream. If you would, please like the show. Help get this out there. Help get the algorithm up to where everybody can witness and listen to what we got going on. We've been here since 12:15, just about. This has been, this is why I did this show. So I can be here for moments like this. This is not what boxing needed. Look, for show, I'm trying to cover what the NBA is doing. Because we covered everything in the boxing world. Absolutely. Right when I'm about to break down Dalton Connect getting traded. Mark Williams now going to the Lakers. Them getting a core piece to now fill out the centerpiece the center position that they needed. Telling you that Jimmy Butler is now on the Golden State Warriors and has been traded, signed for 2 years, $121 million. Is that going to work or is it going to flop when it comes to the Lakers organization? And why Draymond Green single-handedly ruined the opportunity for the Warriors to get Kevin Durant back on the roster. I was going to break down all of that. I was going to break down how the moves just got made as soon as a couple minutes ago. With Yusuf Nurkic getting moved to Charlotte, Caleb Martin getting moved to the Suns, DeAndre Ayton just went to the Hawks. Or DeAndre Hunter, just went to Cleveland to fill out that what looks to be the best team in the NBA right now. And they get rid of Karis LeVert. I'm telling you, I'm losing my voice. Where's my coffee? And now we get to see that Canelo is going to fight Jake Paul. Well, let's take care of, in about 5 minutes, we're going to take care of what I initially said we were going to do. Because I can't just gloss over it. We do have to talk about the NBA. Sadly. We're going to cover it in 5 minutes. As quick of a summary as we can. So let's go. Right now, for my NBA fans out there, we about to cover Canelo versus Jake Paul. It's been officially announced. But give me 5 minutes and let me cover the NBA like I said I would cover in the title and at the start of the show. So let's break it down right now. Mark Williams going to the Lakers for Dalton Connect. They trade what looked to be a budding, incredible draft pick that they stole from the NBA. Just in Dalton Connect. Great three-point shooter, athletic, 6'7". Now he's going to Charlotte in favor of Mark Williams, brother, who is again averaging 15 and 9, about 1.2 blocks a game. Defensively isn't all that great, but athletically as a live threat and as an offensive player. Hey, he adds some stuff to him. He's only 23 years old, roughly 7 feet to 7'2", a 9'9" standing wingspan. One of the, if not the longest wingspan in the NBA today. Outright, even longer than Victor Wembanyama, or at least on par with Victor Wembanyama. It fills the void of getting a second center that they needed. A true big man that is athletic and can get boards. Hustle is an issue for him that we saw in Charlotte, but regardless of which, if it pans out, great. Now this Lakers squad looks like a squad that fully looks well-rounded, fully looks ready to take on the world. Without defensively, they've been looking better, and offensively, they've hit the flow. And with Luka now being in this lineup, come potentially Saturday, we could see this team completely shock the world and be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Outright. Incredible. Jimmy Butler now going to the Golden State Warriors. Incredible. The saga's finally over. What does this mean? Well, for the Miami Heat, it's bad because, well, they can rebuild. Right now, they're looking for a second star. They're devoid of talent. They look bad. They look horrible. The saga's over, but they still have Bam Adebayo. But even with that being the case, their roster still is lacking severely. But they are open to get a second star. They have enough now. They have enough cap space to be able to sign somebody else to a max. Maybe they look to try to get Joel Embiid come the trade within the hour. Try to trade for him and rebuild with another mega star. Because we see in Philadelphia, ain't nothing working over there. It's a bum place over in Philly. It's bad. But with Jimmy Butler, the Butler fleeced and got everything that he wanted. He got everything that he wanted. Got his $121 million, got an extension, is now out of Miami. Is done with the organization, gets to play with Steph Curry. Now, does this add anything and make them better? Absolutely not. If anything, they become a worse shooting squad because they give up Andrew Wiggins, who was a worse version of Jimmy Butler, but serviceable, better three-point shooter, and had the ability to play defense, not to level of Jimmy, but still a great asset regardless of which you're paying for Jimmy Light. Now you let him go. You get a 35-year-old, I believe he's 35, 34 years old, and Jimmy Butler coming on the tail end of his prime. It could be a problem. It could be an issue. It could be something that could be concerning. And maybe he fleeced everybody. But regardless of which, can him and Draymond Green coexist with how we know Draymond Green has been volatile, with how we know Draymond Green, per yesterday, has now been shown that he was the reason why Kevin Durant isn't coming to the Warriors, and they had a deal in place to get KD to come to the Warriors in a multi-deal trade, but KD shut it down because Draymond Green was there, and he hates Draymond Green, essentially, doesn't want to play with the brother, shot him in the foot. And now they can't even trade Draymond Green because nobody wants that brother because he's a bum as a player at this stage in his career, and he's more of a liability than a risk, or more of a liability than he is an asset because his defense is going downhill, his offense is kaput, and his mentality on the floor ain't great no more. It doesn't garner winning. It only garners technicals and a losing system at this stage. They could have traded Kuminga. They could have traded Moses Moody. They could have traded Popinski, the white dude with the curly hair. They could have traded all of them. But no, you get rid of Andrew Wiggins, the only other young but still veteran star that was able to be everything that you wanted. When Kuminga didn't work out, when Moody didn't work out, it's a volatile situation. It's going to be bad. It's good for Jimmy. But for the Warriors still, it's not something that can be pretty. Can they build on it? We have to wait and see in the offseason. But regardless of which, very touchy stuff. Not great. For Jimmy, it's phenomenal. For everybody else, if anything, you can argue that Miami might have won the trade because they got rid of a cancer, for them, a cancer in the locker room, and had the ability now to get Andrew Wiggins, get, I believe, Schroeder. Who else was in that Jimmy Butler? It was Andrew Wiggins. It was Andrew Wiggins, draft picks, and let me pull it up. Hold on. We verify, we keep everything on the up and up on this show. It is, come on now. Here we go. Yep. Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, first round pick, and Kyle Anderson. There's an argument that they might have won the trade. There's a big argument that they might have won the trade. Got a draft pick, got some more depth at their roster they can use to flip into more assets that to rebuild this organization. Now around Bam Adebayo, or maybe use all of those, trade for Bam, get a big star, and now you start retooling from there and keep Andrew Wiggins. Who knows what may happen? Either way, it's an exciting thing. Oh, by the way, Brandon Ingram is now a Toronto Raptor. Got traded for Kelly Olynyk, first round pick. Does that move the needle? Absolutely not. But this shows, be on the lookout for Zion Williamson. That brother's stint may end within the next 30 minutes because of all the moves that's being made right now, and them essentially blowing up the Pelicans organization. With Ingram now gone, don't be surprised in the slightest if Zion's also gone as well. They didn't want that brother playing back-to-backs. Though Zion said he wants to play back-to-backs, Zion's already said he's essentially voicing to the public he's tired of that roster with how he's going about the media. This could be the sign within the next 30 minutes. Brother could be out of here and gone, and legitimately going into a new organization as the Pelicans look to just retool all around, potentially, seemingly. But we'll see what happens. But regardless of which, I mean, just moves left, right, and center. Shake Milton going to Miami. We got the Patrick Baldwin going to San Antonio. Again, not great moves, but still moves nonetheless. Just again, like I said, DeAndre Hunter going to Cleveland for Karis LeVert. Again, another person that adds to this already deep, efficient, big, long, and incredibly diverse offense and defensive tandem as one of the best teams in the NBA outright, going on a tear that everybody didn't expect, but everybody now has to respect. But then when it comes to this organization, we're looking at a team that it's incredible. It's just incredible. Am I missing anything? Oh, by the way, we also got the likes of, in fact, and shoot, we might as well do this right now. Let me see if I can do what I'm doing. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can do what I've been trying to do for the longest time. Oh wait, I can do it. I can do it. Give me 1 second. Let me try this thing real quick. When it comes to, give me 1 second. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Here we go. Here we go. Is it here? Is this it? Let me make sure this is it. Can I do it? Oh yeah, let's make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in a mighty long time, we're going to do what we know we can do, which is, hey, we can do a picture-in-picture. Yes, indeed. I told you we're bringing in new aspects to the game, new aspects to the world of this show. Look at it. Ain't it pretty? Ain't it great? Ain't it phenomenal? Hopefully, is the screen, make sure the screen looks like it's supposed to look. Is everything on the up and up when it comes to this? Does it look good? Can everybody see what we got going on? In fact, let me go to my own stream and make sure it looks like what it's supposed to look like. Is it set? Is it ready? Ain't it great? I told you we adding on layers to this show, as you can see. Just look, ain't it pretty? Ain't it beautiful? Hey, don't I just look like a real streamer now? Don't I just look like a real streamer? Ain't it great? This is what we're adding to this show, making it better and better. Well, again, we're going through, and we're still talking about what everything is transpiring with this stuff, as we see right now, even still. Even so, oh, no, wait, oh, no, oh, bringing up my thing. Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. Okay, oh, that's, what? Am I showing me? Hold on, wait a minute, hold on, wait a second, hold on. That ain't me. That ain't what I'm trying to do. There we go. Is this it? This is it. Okay, we good now. Yes, indeed. Yeah, look at this. Ain't it pretty? Ain't it great? Ain't it beautiful? Ain't it just phenomenal? This is what we want. This is what we aspire to be. It's phenomenal. I'm going through the trades right now as we speak, and we're looking and we're seeing a phenomenal display. Again, right now, Kyle Kuzma Kyle Kuzma got traded to the Bucks, and it's going. Kyle Kuzma got traded to the Bucks for Chris Middleton. And I'm just going, this is just a backlog of stuff. I don't know what's going to happen within the next 30 minutes. We're just scrolling through, making sure I'm not missing anything. It has been an incredible, volatile situation that we're looking at right now. It is truly a spectacle to behold as we're going through right now. Draymond Green is one of the most overrated stars ever. Now, I will say at his best, he was one of the best defenders that we've seen in the NBA modern day. Was the reason why that Warrior squad was able to produce and be something special. But regardless of which, still, he wasn't an integral part as to why that dynasty was able to work. It's true. When he downgraded, though, I saw this coming. Once that brother gets older, this is going to be bad. It's going to be incredibly bad. And you need to move off of him before you're stuck with him. And now, you're stuck with him. He is still a star. And if you, in the proper context, he is aptly rated. Oh, it's true. It is indeed true. But as of right now, he ain't a star no longer. He is an integral piece. He is a cornerstone. But he's no longer a star. Not in today's basketball landscape, at least not anymore. But again, regardless of which, we are still going through. And oh, by the way, now that we're here, we've covered about everything. Well, unless something else happens in the world of NBA, we're going through the championship round. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here in this time. It is the championship rounds. Yes, indeed. Put your comments, put your questions in the chat below. We got 30 minutes to an hour as we're still waiting on the trade deadline to finish up whatever you all want to discuss, whatever you all want to talk about, anything and everything in the landscape of sports. We are here to talk about and discuss it all. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're here. We're excited. We're waiting and we're willing to go through everything that you all want to discuss. In fact, let me put it in the chat right now. Yeah. Championship rounds right now. Let me put it in the chat so everybody knows. Talk about whatever in the chat below. Let me make sure I'm spelling that right. See, I'm pulling double duty. But either way, regardless of which, we are in the midst of a ground-shaking event. And a ground just incredible, just phenomenal. And we here, and we get to finally live in the moment of true, incredible transparency. Oh gosh, it's phenomenal. Oh, it's incredible. It's here, we're live, and we're set to make a killing, and we're set to make it the best that it can be when it comes to this whole shebang that is the Welch Report. Absolutely. No question about it. No doubt in my mind. Absolutely. Oh, wait, hold on. Time out. We're going to have got some issues taking place in the chat below. But let's see what you read. Bro, what do you think about Captain America controversy about and now Anthony Mackie's statement? Let me think. When it comes to Anthony Mackie and the world, like, are you talking about a statement of is it the statement about what it meant to be Captain America? If that's the statement that you're referring to, I think, and I believe he was in the right, unless something new came out when it came to that. Let me make sure that I'm looking at this correctly. Let me make sure I'm referring to the right statement. Anthony Mackie, Captain America Captain America controversy. Okay, yeah. Okay, no, yep. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're on the same page. I know what you're talking about. That, yeah, saying Captain. So I think this is what he meant, and this is exactly what. Not the old buddy that was in So going on with my chat. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Something's going awry in the chat. Give me 1 quick second to make sure this is going okay and everything's working like it's supposed to. Excuse me for 1 moment as I'm multitasking. But regardless of which, I'll answer your question while I'm troubleshooting. When it comes to what Anthony Mackie was saying about how Captain America shouldn't represent America, what that means is not saying that Captain America isn't American or that Captain America shouldn't represent America. He hates the country. What he's saying is that Captain America, like I said in the last show, should represent something bigger than the country. It's not that he represents America. He represents an ideal that America should live up to. Wearing the red, white, and blue, for him, is more than just for my home and country, for my nation and land. These colors for Captain America are supposed to represent the best in humanity. We are supposed to be a beacon that everybody can aspire to be, as in the best in people. That's what it meant to say that we're bigger, or that you are that Cap doesn't represent America. Captain America at its core represents an idealistic viewpoint of what humanity can be. Again, that for Captain America, that shield isn't just about America. Again, he loves America. He does. But he said it in the comics. He said it I think Chris Evans said this as well. And if you watch the Captain America the Captain Falcon series on Disney Plus, he was saying the same thing. The shield is bigger than just the nation. The shield is about making the people be able to look at a symbol and say, I can reach and be the best man I can be. This isn't just because I'm Captain America, I am not relegated to just America. I don't just represent America. I am from America, yes, but I represent the ideal of what you can be. The ideals that America stands for is what I am truly perpetuating. And those are what I instill in myself. Again, like I said, I think we talked about Captain America before. With Captain America, when he was, I believe in the comics, when he died or when something catastrophic happened for him, the world in the comics mourned. He is one of the most respected people. Dr. Doom respects Captain America. I don't think you understand that. I don't think many people understand it. Dr. Doom, the Latvian menace, the brother who can single-handedly take out the Fantastic Four, fight the Avengers, has killed Thanos with his bare hands. Has taken hold of the power gauntlet, of the Infinity Gauntlet shooter. Excuse me. I believe has been in touch with the power cosmic. Has the same Dr. Doom that helped save Reed Richards and Sue Richards' kid and saved Sue's life. But at the same time, forced Sue Richard, the invisible woman, to name the child after Doom. The same brother who made Reed and Sue's first kid's name or first kid's words made his kid's first words Doom. Do you understand that? Their child likes their uncle, Dr. Victor Von Doom, more than them. Dr. Doom respects Captain America almost above anybody else in the globe. It's different because he is something different. And that book is only about Latvia. If Captain America was just representing America, Dr. Doom wouldn't have the respect that he has for him. Black Panther wouldn't have the respect that he has for him. Shoot. Doctor Strange wouldn't have the same respect. His own villain, Hydra, wouldn't have the same respect. Because Hydra, Red Skull, has pointed out the hypocrisy about the American dream, the American ideals, about America as a country. Even as the villain, he's done it. We've seen it. This is not something new. And everybody's getting bent out of shape because they are so blinded by patriotism that they don't see truly what the character represents. The character doesn't represent America. The character represents the best in you. Captain America is like Superman in the vein of I am the all-American boy, yes. But what I truly represent is a beacon that goes bigger than just the symbol, that goes bigger than the star on my shield and chest, that is bigger than the colors on my uniform. It's bigger than that. Because when you look at Captain America, you don't just see America. You look at the ideal that man is. Whenever I look at a Captain America comic book or colorway, it is never just, oh, he's Captain America representing America. He's Captain America, one of the GOATs. He's Captain America, the man that the world reveres. He's Captain America, the man that I want to be like because of what he does. Because understand, Captain America has gone against America. Captain America has gone against the country, gone against some of the decisions, has gone against some of the ideals. He's gone against that in his own, as Captain America, as Steve Rogers. He's gone against the government. He's gone against policies within the comics. He's done that. The whole thing about Captain America is I am both the voice and am also a mirror, as well as truly as an American operating up to the ideals of what these colors and stars are supposed to stand for, even when my own country does not. That's been what it's in the comics. He's done that. In the movies, he's done that. In everything, he's done it. The only thing that he hasn't done that in was when it comes to mutants and the X-Men. Oh, it's on site with the X-Men. It's on site with, like with Zorro and black people. If you watch, if you watch One Piece, Captain America and mutants, it's like Zorro and black people. Oh, he's always gonna go against them. Oh, he's going to town. He's going to town. Beyond that, but beyond that, we're looking at like beyond that. Nah, it's joking aside, it's funny, but in all seriousness, that's what Captain America is about. He's about being genuinely, I am bigger than America. Because what I'm representing is not just an American thing. I'm not just living up to the American dream. This is the dream, and this is the type of mentality that we want everybody to be able to look and say, whether I'm from Lebanon, whether I'm from Egypt, whether I'm from Asia, regardless of where I'm at, even if you hate me, you respect me because of who I am and what I represent. That goes beyond just the stars and stripes. He's always been like that. So that's what Anthony Mackie was trying to say. That's what many people fail to see. when it came to looking and talking about this. They made something out of nothing because they want to say, if you speak, and again, I'm not trying to be all on a soapbox, but let's be perfectly frank. When it comes to the states, for those of you who are out of the country, when it comes to the states, I love the nation. I love country. But this country's got so much stuff wrong with it. It does. Truly it does. But the biggest thing about it as to why these problems keep persisting is because the people of this very nation turn a blind eye to it and genuinely let their patriotism, their nationalism, and their unabated love cloud, or in some cases stop, the actual ability to look back and say, we need to fix this. We need to fix ourselves. Because if you truly love your mom, your dad, your family, your sister, your brother, your uncle, a friend, whatever the case may be, whatever walk of life that you have with people that are close to you, you don't be quiet or turn a blind eye when they're doing something wrong or when something needs to be fixed about them or with them. You tell them and you voice your concern. You give your ability to be, you tell them what exactly is wrong. Because if they don't fix it, they're hurting themselves. And with the nation, that's what it is. You're hurting yourself when you don't when you don't look yourself in the mirror or tell people, hey, we're messing up. We're messing up. I love you too much to let you let yourself fall. That's what it's supposed to be. And with Captain America, that's part of his ingrained entity. I'm Cap, not just because I was drafted, not because I'm a super soldier, but because to carry this mantle, I'm telling you the best and worst of this country. Because if I don't, I truly don't love this country. Because I'm willingly letting it die just because it's the nation I love or the nation I live in or the nation that's branded on my chest. That's stupid. Just like when we talk about the world of boxing, we go and we say consistently, don't we talk about Tank on a constant basis? Is that not what we do? And is it because I hate Tank? Or is it because we don't like to watch Gervonta Davis fight? No, it's because of the fact that we know how great you are and you are killing your own career strictly by your own actions. And if we don't speak up about it and make some noise and force you to face yourself in the mirror and make a change, you are going to fall by the wayside. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We love you as a fighter too much. We know where you came from. We know the hardships. We know the trials. We know you're on the cusp of reaching a zenith that can elevate you to a status where you will never have to worry about yourself, not just from a money standpoint, but from a historical standpoint ever again. You can be everything that you and your family and your coaches and yourself said that you wanted to be. In the historical context, you can reach that within the year. But if you don't do it, and you willingly are making moves to avoid it because you think you're bigger than that, well, I'm not going to be there to say, I love watching you fight, so yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's as stupid as saying you shouldn't fight anybody at all. That's as stupid as that. You can't be that ignorant. You can't, as a Tank fan, you can't be that blinded by him being so great that you don't want him to face off against the best of the best to prove his mettle. You can't be that blinded. Canelo fans, you can't be that blinded. Nobody should be that blinded to make it so that you let yourself turn a blind eye to the wrongs that somebody's doing strictly because you love them so much. That's not no. And with this country, it's the same way. With the Shield, it's the same way. With Cap, it's the same way. Regardless of who we calling Cap, whether it's Captain Falcon, whether it's Steve Rogers, don't matter who. That's what that mantle brought about. That's what it represents, doggone it. And that's what it's supposed to be. But people are so in tune with loving their nation, loving their country, that you love it to a fault. You can still love it to a fault, but you love it to the point where they can do no wrong. And if you can do no wrong, you're perfect. And nobody's perfect. Nobody but God is perfect. Nobody but God's perfect. It's been that way. It's always been, it's always going to be that way. So you can't let yourself be so blinded by your love of somebody to let yourself fall into the trap of never putting correction. And when you are a beacon and you say, I don't represent America, one, they didn't read the whole quote. They didn't read the whole thing. They just stopped right there. And two, even when they did read it, they still took it out of context. And so, because they want to hear what they don't like, not what the actual reality is. That's all. I'm sorry. I don't mean to go on a tangent. I'm sorry. I love comics. I love movies. I love it all. I'm a multifaceted, interesting individual. I love it all. But regardless of which, I just had to say that because this is something that's been weighty on the minds of me. At least we got people coming in from around the world. Absolutely understandable. We got people that maybe see the craziness in America, don't really understand why all this is happening. To a degree, that's why. To a degree, that's why. And the Captain America thing was a perfect segue into the talk of this is what my nation, my country, is currently dealing with. Because with Captain America now it's taken in a way that you hate America because you don't represent America. Now, you've lost the plot of one of your biggest figures. And it speaks how you lost the plot of yourself as a nation. And I don't want that because I love that. I live here. I love it here. It's great, but it's also horrible. And it can be fixed, but they don't want to fix themselves. I'm so sorry. Again, I'm not diatribe aside, but we're still in the championship rounds. My gosh, we went through all that. We went through all of that, and I didn't even get a chance to truly to shoot. I went on a tangent. I'm so sorry. We still are at 30 minutes left in this whole saga. Whatever you all want to discuss and talk about, we can talk about it all. Whether it's other fights or beyond. And again, I appreciate y'all. Well said, but appreciate it. I'm happy that y'all agree. Again, I'm not trying to get political. I'm not trying to do any of that. But comics and a lot of media are a way to speak on what is going on right now. In some cases, it would be remiss not to at least touch on it, to help people outside the country who do tune in understand exactly what's going on. Hey, we always love to help people learn and grow and all that stuff, even about culture, even about, it's cool, it's great. And so, yeah, hopefully that helps shine a light. But regardless of which, that's how I feel about it. You should be his publicist. Hey, look. That's a heavy load. That's a heavy load. That is a heavy load. Again, maybe Anthony Mackie ain't even my favorite actor. So maybe I've had my gripes with Anthony Mackie in the past, just as an actor. I don't like some of the stuff he does, just in his acting roles. He just ain't never hit with me. So maybe I wouldn't be a great publicist, because I would slip up and say, hey, I don't like the brother. So, and for people who know me, it's an inside joke as to why. But regardless of which, maybe, oh boy, oh my boy, hey, it is what it is. But let's see. Also, my pie, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Glad that you're tuning in. Thank you for tuning into the show. Absolutely, we're glad that you tuned in to the Welch Report. Glad that you're showing up. Even if you came late, you came through. That's all we care about. And because of that, we always are going to give you support and adoration. And we're just glad that you're here along for the ride with us. Absolutely. Oh, gosh, it's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. But mind you, we still got a time. We still got 10 minutes up until the All-Star break is indeed, or not the All-Star break, excuse me, the trade deadline is still afoot. So we still got about 10 minutes left in this show before we ultimately wrap it up. Also, don't forget, I believe I'm going to be a guest on the Got Next podcast today and on their channel with Mitchell Baldwin, Damo, and a whole cast of characters going through all the ins and outs of the breakdown of this monumental shift in trades that are going on in NBA. So you can catch me there as well, roughly at around 7 o'clock, I believe. Again, the Got Next podcast will be the show. Search the channel on there. It'll have two black brothers on a I believe like a black and red background. It'll say Got Next podcast. It's great. In fact, if you want to easily get to it, I posted the link to the last show that I did with them in the community notes below or in the community notes on the channel. Go click on it. And at 7 o'clock, just go to the latest live that they put up. And I'll be there talking about it all. Go chat, go comment. We'll have our conversation. We'll have a lot of fun. Trust and believe. You don't want to miss it. But regardless of which, it's going to be there. But we still got 10 minutes left. And roughly 10 minutes left in the show and in the trade deadline. Also, appreciate it. The tangents are awesome. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm glad that y'all like it. I try to not. I speak how I got to say. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I'm not trying to be somebody that is a political beacon or somebody who's just, I'm a trendsetter. I just say what I feel needs to be said and give as much context and as unbiased as possible. Nothing I say is with hate, unless I truly don't like it. Like with some of the Marvel stuff that's been going on, like with some of the series that just have been flopping. Don't like it. Like what they done with the Incredible Hulk. I hated the Kingdom Come. Oh yeah, I'll say I hate that. But regardless, outside of that, honest opinions, not out of spite, not out of being uninformed, and not out of being somebody who is just, you're just being a hater. No, this ain't. If we operate like that, we'll never actually be able to get stuff done in all walks of life, in all walks and facets of whether it's the sports sphere or beyond. So I try to give it as straight as I can. But again, we got 10 minutes left. Is there anything else y'all want to discuss? Is there anything else you all want to talk about? Again, like I said, as I go to sharing my screen once again, just to give you all some synopsis or some things to go and be inspired by. For those of you who are just tuning in, understand right now, genuinely, within the span of an hour ago, for those of you who are just tuning into the stream, Canelo Alvarez is going to fight Jake Paul, per Eddie Hearn, on the Ring Magazine Twitter. It is a done deal. For those of you who are just tuning into the chat and just coming in late, it is a done deal. It's a shock and awe. We're still waiting on the trade deadline. We still got roughly an hour for that as things are still going through and transpiring. We're keeping up with everything. Any major moves that potentially will be done, we're still looking to see if they're going to be done at all. I mean, it's just news on top of news on top of news. Does it change anything up? Well, hey, as you can see right now, Detroit is getting Dennis Schroeder. So hey, he's not getting, from the Utah Jazz. So he's not staying in Miami, unironically. Clippers are getting Terrence Mann and Bones Highland for Bogdanovich. Three second round picks. Oh my gosh, that is my goodness. Now that's interesting. Well, the Clippers seemingly the experiment of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and now James Harden not working like we thought it was going to be. Now Kawhi's back and healthy, but how long will that last? Maybe they're prepping to get and revamp anew come next year. Because I doubt they're going to make any moves to trading Kawhi Leonard, especially right now. But come next year and in the offseason, with some assets at their disposal, maybe they're building up to genuinely get. Actually, wait, no, excuse me. My apologies. I read that wrong. Atlanta is potentially gearing up to make some moves for trades with Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, and 3 second round picks. And now the Clippers are getting Bogdanovich, who if you watch the Olympics, was torching and playing some of the best basketball over in the Olympics, torching everybody, and gave Team USA a run for their money up until Steph Curry went nuclear in the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter to seal it for Team USA. Was talking to Melo, doing his own celebration at him, going and joining everybody, talking back to LeBron, talking back to KD. This brother's a dog. Clippers got a dog. And the Hawks just got some more assets to potentially use to trade for a second star with Trae Young. So it's incredible. I'm telling you right now, we are still looking, and it's stuff is coming down the pipe, and we're just going through. We just guys. Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. We still have people coming and commenting. We still have people coming and commenting. Hold on, I'm not trying to miss anybody. But shoot, it's just, so let's see what people got to say. Canelo doing the same thing he did. He did trying to wait till Triple G was too old. Maybe that's the case. But here's the thing. The longer that we see Canelo wait, the worse it's going to be for his chances to beat the likes of Beterbiev. Understand, if he waits longer to fight against Benavidez, it's gonna be less likely that he beats him. I was saying that 2 years ago. And now it's looking more likely, hey, I'll have Benavidez beating Canelo now, as opposed to I had it as a 50-50 or Canelo slightly ahead, because I knew the threat that Benavidez had at his disposal against the likes of Canelo. But now, if he waits this long, continually, and what we've seen with the last couple fights, John Ryder making it 12, Berlanga giving him an actual good fight instead of just running through him like we thought he should have, and we thought he could have, and thought he would have. Credit to Berlanga, but for Canelo, it shouldn't have been that big of a struggle at all. It shouldn't have been that big of a struggle at all. It's more props to Berlanga showing out better than it was to Canelo from going all 12 with Berlanga. It's a problem. And so this is showing me more and more Canelo's prime is still elite, but it's dwindling more and more. And we're seeing Benavidez continue to evolve and change and shift and grow. That shows me that, hey, brother, I'm telling you, there's a problem. There's a problem with this brother, and it's going to be a situation where, shoot, man, we're going to be looking and saying, Canelo, you should have, just like Benavidez just fought David Morrell. Did he not? He just fought David Morrell. And he fought him when Morrell was on the come up and beat him to Kingdom Come. Now, Morrell may evolve, get better, all that stuff, but even still, he fought him when Morrell wanted him and when it made sense. Canelo could have done that with David Benavidez. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget. Let's not forget. Canelo could have done that with David Benavidez. We could have seen Canelo Alvarez fight David Benavidez even before Benavidez transcended into what we see now. Before he fought Caleb Plant, he could have fought him. Before he fought Boo Hunter, he could have fought him. Before he fought Gavazdik, he could have fought him. There would have been plenty of opportunities. That it would have been a great fight, phenomenal for your resume, elevate you in the landscape of history, in the world of boxing, put you closer to potentially either matching or potentially usurping the likes of Julio Cesar Chavez and Salvador Sanchez. Could have been on that level. But no, you didn't fight him. And now we're seeing Benavidez get better and better, even without the power that we know he had. Still dominating the exact same way in a more skillful fashion against even tougher competition that should be able to match him physically. And he's still dominating them just like he was dominating everybody else at 168. And so all of this is showing us Benavidez is quickly becoming more and more the real deal that we all bought into. And Canelo, more and more, is struggling more than we would like to see against people that genuinely he shouldn't be struggling against. So now we're looking and saying, you should have fought him when you had the best chance to win. You should have fought him early. You should have pulled a Floyd. You should have pulled a Floyd. If there was any time to follow a Floyd Mayweather type of moniker, it should have been now. Because now you're going to fight him. And if you wait around, you're going to be too old. Benavidez is still low 30s. He's still hitting the prime of his career. He just had a kid. Oh, they're still thriving. Loving every second of it. And he's coming better and better. And Canelo is becoming more and more. It's not the same. It's still dominant, but it's not the same dominance. Not from the standpoint of you're lacking something, but it's from the standpoint of now people that shouldn't be going the same way with you are going the distance with you. People that you should have been putting out, you ain't putting out. People that shouldn't be a struggle are a struggle. You ain't even elevating your competition. You're fighting below your competition. That's a wholehearted problem. That makes us really look at you and we say, you as a fighter are no longer the same. And the longer you wait, the worse it is. And the worse it is, the more likely it is that we'll see the likes of David Benavidez when you do inevitably fight him. If you do inevitably fight him. He may have the upper hand, and he may be the guy that genuinely is going to beat you. He may be your biggest fear, may become a reality, and you may just take him. He may just take you to school and take you out. Once you actually give him a chance, he may just take you out. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. It is not something out the question. It's not something out the question at all. Not something out the question in the slightest. When it comes to this, not out the question in the slightest. But again, we about at 2 minutes left. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that's going to transpire? Is there anything else that's going to happen? Is there anything else that's really going to take place to look at this team, to look at the trade deadline, or with anything? We got about, a minute left, 2 minutes left. It's almost 3 o'clock. What's going to happen? Oh, and by the way, speaking in the world of sports, I can finally do this now that I got this thing set up in place. Let me quickly give you all a real quick synopsis as the, hold on, wait. That ain't what I'm trying to do. Hold on, wait a second. Wait a minute. It's right here, there it is. Let me give y'all this quick look as to what's going on in the world of the NBA when it comes to Trey Mann in light of everything happening.
I'm going to pivot to Trae Young. That guy is a fierce competitor. He wants to win. I'm just saying he wants to win. So the direction of the Hawks is very, I would say, very unique, considering they know where he stands and what he wants to accomplish. I will say this. Before the San Antonio Spurs made the move for De'Aaron Fox, they were considering De'Aaron and they were considering Trae Young. But with the way that the Spurs are set up right now, they're not set up to start trying to win games and contend now. So there was never really a hurry to bring in an established point guard to move on to the next phase. But De'Aaron Fox kind of fell in their lap, and he picked them as the sole team that he wanted to play with. So they chose him. It was a much easier lift, an easier route to get De'Aaron. But Trae Young was on the San Antonio Spurs radar.
So see, what does that mean? You have to understand. We're looking at this and we're saying the clock for the Hawks just moved up as now officially the trade line is over. Oh yes, indeed, it's done. We've made it through another phenomenal time with the trade deadline. Another shocking development. But real quickly, when it comes to the world of the NBA, this will probably be the last thing before we, get on out of here. What Chris Hines just said essentially shows that Trae Young and the window for the Hawks is now on a very much rapid pace to closing in terms of being competitive with Trae Young there. Spurs took De'Aaron Fox because all of a sudden he became available. With Trae Young now seeing that Spurs just became a very quick contender or early into the really looking to be successful, the phase of their development just amped up immensely. Now, Trae Young's looking at this and we're saying, brother, where's my star? Y'all just traded Bogdan. And now I'm left with, is Clint Capella still there? I'm not really sure. But regardless of which, it's just me, myself, and I at this point on this roster. Also just traded away the likes of doggone it, Bones Holland. Not Bones Holland. DeAndre Hunter. So my stock is, my team is dwindling while the rest of the league is seemingly improving, getting better. We've been at the tops of offenses and we've gotten to the playoffs a couple of times. But now, we're falling behind. I ain't getting no younger. Brother, it's time to win now. If they don't make a move, don't be surprised in the slightest if we start seeing Trae Young as soon as next season request a trade. And if they don't make any moves in the offseason, especially with the amount of stuff that's going to be available now, in the offseason with people not signing, becoming free agents, unrestricted and whatnot, don't be surprised if we got some shake up in Atlanta for what may transpire. If anything can happen. If anything can happen, absolutely. And I'm telling you, we are, man, between this, Luka, Canelo, Crawford, AD, and the sports and boxing landscape and world, it's too much to discuss. Oh, it's too much to talk about. I can't wait for next week because we're going to be able to break it down even more with even more news and stuff. And hypothetically, Don't forget, Luka may make his debut come this Saturday. So everything's going to be on the table for everybody to talk about. We're going to have a bunch of time. But with that being the case, it has been a phenomenal show, and we get ready to go. So with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc West. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Yes, indeed, clap it up for yourselves. Clap it up for a phenomenal type of event, a phenomenal type of news. I got to break down shows, break down news, break news to you. Hey, I got to have my own Welch moment telling you all that Canelo and Crawford officially is dead in the water. And now Canelo and Jake Paul is officially happening. It is on the docket. We got so much to discuss come next week with not just Canelo and Jake Paul, but with the ramifications more on the likes of Crawford and his new tenure in the landscape of boxing, Coley, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, oh so much more. More stuff in the NBA, the reactions to the ramifications of the trades that we just saw take place as the NBA season goes on. It's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to cover it next week. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. See y'all next week. Don't forget, we're going to still have, not championship rounds, we're going to still have me as a guest on the Got Next podcast. I repeat, the Got Next podcast tonight at 7 o'clock on live stream. Come through, see, comment, talk, do all that stuff. Come support their channel. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to have a whole panel, a whole sect of people reacting, screaming, hollering. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to see it. You don't want to miss it. Be there at 7 o'clock, just about 7 o'clock on the Got Next podcast. I put already the previous podcast in the community post, so you can simply go click that video, click the channel, or click that video, then click the channel icon itself, and then go and click on the latest live stream at roughly 7 o'clock. We'll be there. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a blast, and I can't wait to see you, but we're going to be back here next week to talk about everything happening and so much more in the sports world. So see y'all. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see y'all next week. Yes, indeed.